Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's
Rick O'Reilly.
Hey, Amy. Is that the proper response when someone raps your name back?
Yeah, I was inspired by that woman, that Australian breakdancer woman.
Oh,
Raygun.
Raygun.
She's in trouble, I heard.
Why? Because she's
Like a scammer.
I'm glad you brought up Raygun within 1 second, because I kind of caught up on Raygun just on my own, just so if you ever wanted to talk about it with me, I would at least have 10% of my knowledge available to talk to you about it. What about Raygun filled you with the spirit to rap my name like that?
I just picture her twirling around.
Me too.
Yeah.
I only got a small glimpse into Raygun fever, but I think the basics enough to process anything you say about Raygun.
Yeah, I'm not, I had kind of heard about it, and then someone at the gym was talking about it, and I got the rundown secondhand. So I don't know that much about it, but it sounds like they scammed their way into the category and like barred other nations from being able to fundraise to compete. So they were like the only ones or something.
Yeah, I read that too. I didn't know about who Raygun was until my friend suggested that we name our daughter Raygun to capitalize on the Raygun fervor. And then me and my wife both did our due diligence to be like, should we name her Raygun?
Yeah. And
then that was just a joke completely. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it calls into question every step of the process that led to Raygun being on the national or international stage, showcasing those skills. But I mean, it's about as fun and funny as it gets to watch those clips of her dancing her ass off.
Yeah, let's just let her do it in LA. Like, come on.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean in 2028?
Yeah.
I think if she starts the process now to get slightly better, she has a huge shot at competing in 2028, don't you
Maybe
think?
that's the one we can do. We were talking about what would be ours. Like, if she could do it, then maybe we can. With our Patreon money.
Do we need money, right?
It sounded like it.
To
You have to we don't have to get ourselves there because we live here.
Right.
We have to train, but we could do that on the cheap.
I think that of all of the Olympic sports, they're all hard and we're competing with the best in the world. But I do think breakdancing, to me, I think we would at least have a fighting chance to get to where Raygun was, even though it does look very hard. Yeah.
Just get our strength up. I saw that Pommel Horse Boy was on Watch What Happens Live.
I saw that too. I don't know anything about Pommel Horse Boy. What was?
He was like the breakout star of the Olympics, I would say, pretty much. Besides, obviously, like Simone Biles was already coming into it, a big deal, but no one knew who this guy was like 10 days ago. And he was just the kid who only does pommel horse.
Oh, what did he do that got the fanfare
it was like,
around him?
I was happy to join in on it. I was watching it just like everyone else, but I was kind of surprised that everyone took it as far as they did for him. He was just like kind of a nerd. He wore his glasses. He would sort of like close his eyes and like feel the pommel horse before, as if he was like connecting with the pommel horse. But yeah, I feel like everyone really like put whatever version they wanted on him for us to have a new internet boyfriend, I guess.
I see. Okay. So the opposite of Raygun a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm glad that he got to go to Watch What Happens Live, because I think that's the perfect way to end a quick, what do you call that? Like a hot and bright fame.
Yeah.
You know, like I would want to end there.
Was he the bartender?
He wasn't even the bartender. He they had him sit like behind in like they brought like a bonus chair. He was like a surprise guest, I guess.
Whoa, he was just sitting behind him the whole time?
Yeah, I don't know if he stayed the whole time. I only saw clips. I was just thinking about how I feel like my Watch What Happens behavior has finally changed, and I don't know exactly why. Like I'm really digesting it in clips these days, which kind of like bums me out, because I like watching the entire thing so that I can pluck things that like maybe people aren't even talking about.
What do you think happened?
I think it's because I'm streaming it. I used to be I'm currently I won't call it a cord cutter. I'm mooching my parents' cable on the DirecTV app. But up until like 6 months ago, I had satellite, and I would just record everything. And having it on the DVR, I can technically still DVR, but it just feels not as organic and like more appointment viewing. Like I like set out to watch things like rather than, I don't know. It used to just feel more casual to watch it, and now I'm like, I'm not gonna like go out of my way to watch it. Is how I feel.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, I never went out of my way, but you were always the Watch What Happens Live head. Yeah. And then, I'm sorry that happened, though. Like
I saw, but it's like, it's such a short show that when it gets clipped, you've almost seen it all. Like, I watched 5 Ariana clips, and I'm like, well, I pretty much watched it,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What did she say on those?
He asked her about Tom suing her. Like, he was like, what was your reaction when that happened? And she looked like, I feel like she's like very guarded. Mm-hmm. Like she, especially around that topic, she like won't say much. And she just said, it was a really bad day. Like almost like she was like not wanting to get emotional or something. Yeah. And then there was like a woman from Dubai was next to her. And I don't think it was like a particularly fun match. Okay. But I'm trying to think of what else she said. She said that she hasn't talked to Schwartz since filming, and that her and Sheena's relationship definitely took a hit, but there will always be love there.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that.
And she commended her for getting a postpartum OCD award.
Yeah. It sounds like...
I was like, what award is that?
Oh, the postpartum OCD award? Yeah, I kind of just took that for what it was. I just thought... I think I remember Sheena posting about that, but I didn't look into it too much. It does seem, I can't believe that it does seem very bad between Ariana and Sheena to where Ariana would even say that it definitely took a hit after that season.
Did you see Sheena got bitten by a royal horse?
Yeah, I saw that too. I didn't know how. I kind of that just came up, I think, on TikTok for a second. But yeah, I saw. Did she get too close?
I've been watching. That's been happening like all year of people getting bitten or like bucked by the Royal Guard horses. And I'm like, she's so extremely online. I'm surprised she hasn't seen those videos herself and knew to avoid.
Is it if you just get even sort of close enough that they take a little bite out of you?
Yeah, or like bump you with their head.
Did you you didn't go to London when you were?
Not this time.
Oh, okay.
I've been though.
Yeah, me too. I did photos with the guards.
Yeah.
Where you try to make them laugh.
They can't smile, yeah.
It was a unique experience because we had the guards doubling over in laughter.
What'd you say?
I said, I forget the joke because it's been 13 years, but I've never seen them react like that. Me and my sister, they just doubled over in laughter.
Wow. They probably got beheaded.
I think so. People are saying that King Charles, when Queen Charles passed, Queen Elizabeth passed, she had a different type of training for all of the guards' horses. And then when King Charles, he said that the horses were getting a little too lackadaisical on his watch. So he's the one who sort of turned them to start biting bystanders so that they wouldn't.
They're like the Biden dog.
Yeah, exactly. Like when, it's very similar to that. When Biden got into the White House, he trained all of the dogs, his dogs, to bite Secret Service and everything. And it's sort of similar to that. They say that the attitude of those horses sort of reflects the monarch in power, I've heard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's bullish.
So, okay.
Well, speaking of Europe.
Oh, wait.
There's a Vanderpump European update.
Wait, speaking of Europe.
France.
Vanderpump Villa. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only we had ever actually watched that show per Hulu's request.
We should have. We watched I watched the first 3 episodes and I really loved them.
You did?
Yeah, we talked about it.
You loved them?
I
think I watched 2.
Okay, yeah, I watched 3. I think that just to explain myself for why I didn't fully commit to watching.
Hulu, cover your ears.
Hulu, please.
Mickey Mouse, cover your ears.
Yeah, please don't listen. But I got so bogged down with you and I's TV watching schedule that when Vanderpump Villa came into existence, I couldn't put it on my roster because I couldn't fill up my roster. You know this more than anybody. So I think I'm going to someday finish Vanderpump Villa, but the news that Stassi is going to be on it for season 2, which is what we're talking about, that I have to see. It increased my interest in Vanderpump Villa, which was already, I was interested in it, but now it's like, times 10.
Yeah.
Because I have to see how Stassi operates in that
Which they
environment.
know. It's like, it's basically like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like we're being forced
Yeah.
against our will. Like everyone who's desperate for Stassi content will have no choice but to watch.
So what do you think? Well, first of all, that was a huge announcement. I mean, like as big as all the news updates that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Raygun, the pommel horse boy. This is like, in terms of Bravo news,
Yeah.
stunning Bravo news. The fact that Stassi's coming back with a 1-2 punch like that. I mean, that was huge. And the way they announced it was like, everybody look at this with that Lisa Vanderpump in Spain. Did you watch the promo clip?
Yeah.
Where Lisa was sitting at a dinner and she goes, I don't know how the hell I'm going to get those rascals to behave at Vanderpump Villa. And then it pointed to Stassi and she goes, what did she say again?
Like, I do.
I do. And then they go, thank you, Stassi. And then Lisa says, thank you, Stassi, for coming back, or, for being back in the Bravo universe.
Yeah.
And
Wait, so both are on Hulu?
Yeah. So I was thinking maybe the fact that Stassi is getting her own Hulu show, which they also announced.
So Peacock and Bravo have nothing to do with this. They have lost Stassi.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah. And they also they lost Vanderpump Villa, right?
Yeah.
Has anything screamed Peacock more than
I don't
Vanderpump
get
Villa?
it. Yeah.
Hulu, this is my theory, is that anything that Bravo passes on now, because they have a vaulted, or what's the right word? They think they have the holy grail of content. So when everyone comes to them with a spinoff idea, any now idea that Bravo passes on, other networks want that more than Bravo, because they've seen Bravo talent and how Bravo talent exists outside of the Bravo universe. Like we saw Phaedra on Traitors.
Yeah.
That now they'll pick up the scraps of Bravo. And I think that's what happened with Vanderpump Villa. But as a conglomerate, Hulu is solely owned by Disney now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's no NBC affiliation at all with that.
I don't think so.
Okay, so yeah. So Stassi just became a Hulu property.
Yeah.
I guess.
Also, so her new show, they're calling it a comedy docu-series, which I'm like, fool me once, shame on me. Like, what does that even mean? Like,
who fooled you before?
Just I'm watching you. Like,
I
it's
think
just a reality show, right?
Yes, I think it's a euphemism for...
I don't think she should be allowed to call it that.
Well, what could you say? A comedic reality series?
It's just a fucking reality show.
Right.
Like, most reality shows have like a kooky bent.
Right. Yeah, I think that was just terminology to give it a little more heft.
I know,
what I mean?
but I'm like, you're not fooling me.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting more respect from me because you're calling it that.
Right. I think I think we know what it is ultimately going to be. We can imagine what that show is going to be. But I had a question of why both were announced at the exact same time, and also why she's doing both.
Right.
Like,
it was definitely like, they were like, you have a deal and we'll give you what you want, but you will be participating on Vanderpump Villa, which is probably like 2 weeks of work.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, we'll greenlight your show, but please, for the love of God, come on Vanderpump Villa for the second season. And then you have a sort of bridge or entryway point to pivot to your own show for the Hulu audience.
They're like, we'll even let you call it a comedy docuseries.
Yeah. It started by former Vanderpump Rules producers I saw.
Okay.
So it's kind of like she possibly had her choice of, production partners to bring into this universe, and she had a good relationship with two people who have since left Vanderpump Rules. Yeah. So they're kind of joining the Stassi ship in a way to give her own spinoff.
And she's like going to be hanging out with like comedians or writers or something.
I just looked at the language so that I didn't get it wrong. I think that in the press release, it was like she's going to be hanging out with her kooky, chaotic friends. and keeping them all in order. I didn't see it was her wrangling comedians, just her kooky, chaotic friends.
But did it say anything about her family life, or like she's not gonna have her family?
I think it is. Well, okay, here's what I would imagine it is, and then you can tell me if it's not. I imagine it's a Stassi-focused reality show that is just like if it was a spinoff from Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
You know, if she would have gotten a spinoff 3 years ago. And I think that it's going to have her home life. And then also I imagine when you're talking about the kooky, chaotic friends, there must be people in her social circle now that she's bringing into the fold, just like the Valley. It was probably pitched as Stassi's Valley, where Stassi is the forefront of it, but she has a new social circle. Like, who's the person who's her warm-up comedian at the show?
Right.
Taylor Stryker?
Yeah.
I would imagine like she is probably one of the kooky people that's going to be in the universe. So it's like, I would imagine it's going to be Stassi's Valley. But the question I had for you is that like the Vanderpump Villa aspect, like isn't that kind of like Stassi's worst nightmare to be back on a show where she's being delegated to by Lisa in like a Lisa restaurant environment again? Like, do you think that...
I feel like that would be the case if she was a contestant, but she gets to lord over these people.
So is it going to be like Lisa says, I'm now delegating to Stassi, and she's going to be running the Vanderpump Villa crew on the ground?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. Like, are they going to be side by side, or is she going to be like, I have too much on my plate, darling. Take over. Goodbye.
Yeah. Or you could be right in that maybe Stassi's appearance is just a brief cameo in some way. And then it's like, I have to leave now, Lisa. I've got to, I've got stuff going on at home. And then that pivots to Stassi Says.
The language did say like a meaty role or like a starring role or something like that. So I don't know, but I'm just like, okay.
What about both of them?
I'm always such a skeptic. Like the Valley, I was like, why? And now I'm like, ooh, season 2.
Right.
But that's because it's like a disaster. Like I don't think she would like allow for true drama anymore. You know what I mean?
If she's the powerful producer on it, she's not going to let it get as messy as the Valley lets Jax and Brittany and everybody else get.
I don't think so.
If
it's like her people, like I don't think she wants to like ruin her life. Whereas the Valley, they are all like willing to risk it all.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I mean, I think that you're right. I mean, I have moderate like expectations that are average for it, but I am glad that I guess Stassi gets a new outlet because she has been just solely a podcast figure for like 3 or 4 years, and I like that she's fully able to come back into the universe. I guess I do wish it was more in the Bravo arena than it is in the Hulu arena.
Right. Speaking of the Valley, we were talking about it before, but did you see that Brittany seemingly is like online every chance she gets, like cutting Jax down? Like I saw one meme, she posted a meme that was like me before and after dating a narcissist, and it was like a glow up. And so it's like that was one thing. And then she posted a screenshot of Jax doing cameos where I don't know, I couldn't really tell like when that information was from, if she was calling him out from like something that happened a long time ago, or if this has been happening the entire time. Because does Jax do cameos still?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I looked it up today. They're like $125.
Oh, okay. So he apparently is like in the bio or in his like cameo information, it says that it's going to cancer research.
I think it was in if I'm right, which I could be completely wrong, I think it was in his original video where you're touting yourself on Cameo, saying like, this is what you can expect or get from me. And maybe that is where he said, and also every dollar, which is horrible, every dollar goes to cancer research, or a lot of it goes.
Yeah. And she posted like a screenshot of him doing a cameo, and she said, so disgusting that he said that this is going to cancer research. He's never given a dime.
Yeah. The entire time. But then I went to his Cameo again just to verify, and all language about I'm donating to cancer research is gone.
Okay.
So they corrected that. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about it. First of all, it's obviously awful if Jax said that all of this is going to cancer research when
Yeah, you got to be on top of that if you change your mind.
yeah, I would have never thought that any of it, would have, or maybe a certain percentage. I guess he said all of it. But also, I'm just like, if Brittany is willing to air that out, it kind of like came out of nowhere, like you said. Like she was like, I joined Cameo, and I just found out that this is how Jax has been promoting his Cameo which is a complete lie. It's like, there's really, I think that means, which you've already said this, that like, there's no coming back from this for them.
Right.
I mean, your ex tells the entire world that you haven't been donating a cent. You've been lying about donating Cameo funds to cancer research. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's a new level to this thing. And also, I guess I haven't seen the like, now look how much better I look now that I'm not dating Jax.
Right. Yeah, it does feel like they're doing sort of like a Cold War, like, whether or not, I still don't know what the deal is. Has he like confirmed that he actually went to a place?
I thought he was still in
mental
there.
health place.
Isn't he in there now?
I don't know.
I mean, he hasn't been active.
He's not posting.
No, he hasn't been active anywhere. So I think
because my initial cynical take was that it felt like if they are going through a divorce, him seeking mental health treatment would maybe like I mean, I don't know if that's great for a divorce, because then custody wise, I don't know if they would like use that against you, or it would be like, I'm taking accountability for my behavior. Like, it could go, I think, either way. But and then I feel like she's trying to air all his dirty laundry so that there's like a public knowledge of him being a shithead.
And this is all so that this is like divorce stuff.
That's like my take, because I feel like they're communicating through the public.
What do you get more of when you do stuff like this?
Well, I feel like the big
Money.
thing is custody.
Okay.
And then but I also feel like it's like down and dirty. Like who were we talking about this stuff? I feel like it comes up all the time, but like I don't think judges like when you're like messy in the public. Like they think you're like making a mockery of the process.
Yeah, because I was just trying to think. I don't know anything about divorce because I haven't gotten divorced yet. But is it like, Your Honor, he set up a Cameo account and he said in one of the videos that he was going to cancer research and none of it went. And then it's like, okay, you get more days with Cruz. I just like, why would
like character assassination? Like,
but
he's a liar.
But she doesn't want full custody of Cruz.
I don't know if she thinks he's a psycho.
I don't imagine that it's going that far. I mean, you think that. No,
Divorce is nasty, dude.
My only frame of reference, which I hate to say it, is Marriage Story. And if I remember that movie correctly, even though they went dirty as hell, ultimately they still wanted shared custody of that little boy.
What was his name?
Adam? No, because that's
Little
Adam
driver.
I forget what that little boy's name was.
Noah.
I think it was Noah. No. So you think, okay, well, I don't know. This is a lot of stuff to think about. I don't know anything about that in the court of law, what helps you in a divorce. I thought it was more indicative of just how bad it's gotten. But also, I got hope, though, when Brittany and Jax were still doing the podcast. Right before you checked in to a mental health facility, they were still doing the podcast and kind of laughing about their wild separation.
Right.
So it seems like it might have, it must have descended to much worse in the last few weeks or month. And I still don't really understand how the Valley is now filming if Jax is in a mental health facility. Did they just lose their main cast member on that show the minute they started filming?
Maybe that's why they had to bring in like Sheena and Lala or whatever to that pool party.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were there.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Stuff is messed up in the Vanderpump Rules universe, especially.
Yeah. I also saw like today, I think like Michelle might participate on like selling the OC or something. Whoa. So who knows what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Is it just that you and I don't know
anything?
Or does the world not know anything?
It's like, we've been talking about this for so long, and I feel like such a hypocrite because we actively participate and have like molded our lifestyle.
Mad when you say that?
What? Oh yeah, people are like, quit fucking complaining about covering
Do you think it's
Bravo when you cover Bravo or whatever. I'm just saying it's like reached a fever pitch
Right.
in like, it's like unbelievable the amount of information that comes out every single day.
Right.
Like you have to follow all those aggregate accounts because otherwise you're fucked. Like you have to follow like whatever they are, like Queens of Bravo or like all of those other ones that like basically just put together every single Instagram story from every single,
Which I like.
It's convenient, but it's necessary because there's like podcast headlines, Instagram stories, like it's fucking crazy.
Right.
And I'm like, I really do miss the days of like, we should we say what we're gonna do next week, or should be a surprise?
No, say it.
Next week, because Riley's having a child, we are going to have an interim episode where we cover Scary Island.
Yes.
But like it was in such a vacuum,
right,
that you just fucking watched it. You had no idea what happened however many months before when they filmed it.
Right.
It was dropped on your TV. I know I'm like old man yells at cloud, but I'm just like, it was so pure.
No, you're right.
You only watched the 43 minutes and that's it. Then they maybe had the blog, maybe Twitter. I mean, that was even pre-Twitter.
Right.
But like, it was it. That was it.
Yeah.
And now it's like blowback from BravoCon, such and such talks on their Amazon Live. Like, I'm just like,
yeah. And it's personally hard, I think, for you and I. I want to get some sympathy for you and I and some real pity from Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs. You know, it's just hard to keep track of all this goddamn shit that's going on. And if you go peek, I couldn't go more than surface level on any of these goddamn topics, especially the Brittany Jax cameo shit. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But regardless, we're doing our best, but it is just a lot. And I feel like I don't know, something definitely really in the Vanderpump Rules universe, once they didn't announce a new season and the fact that it's like indefinitely delayed, there's a lot of weird shit going on in the absence of Vanderpump Rules being locked in. I think.
Yeah. And then we were talking about also another tidbit, which is like potentially bullshit. Peter's trying to get a moment in the sun.
Yeah, he was a little piece of the
Where did he
pie.
say this?
He was on. Okay, I looked it up.
Okay.
This is. I am well researched.
I'm so glad you did a second look at all these things.
He went on a podcast called The Sarah Fraser Show. Forgive me if I got that name wrong, but I think from what I can glean, Peter Madrigal has a reality television network on Tubi or
it's like not even that. It's like a .com.
He is the proprietor of realitytv.net, where he has his own network, the Peter Madrigal Network, and he went on Sarah Fraser's show, which I think talks about reality television. I'm not sure. This is the first clip I've ever listened, but it sounded like a good interview from what I heard. She's much more knowledgeable than you or I. And Peter said he kind of made some scurrilous, unsubstantiated claims, and he made a lot of them all at once. It was that TomTom is being rebranded into Pump. And he goes, I think they even took the TomTom sign off TomTom. And when I was listening to it, I was like, you work right around the corner. You, if anyone could verify information, you would be able to. You just walk outside of Sir and go on one little 5-minute break.
Yeah.
And he could have verified that for himself. Are you going to make a bunch of Bravo influencers and podcasters have to go to TomTom to verify your story, which you could have just verified in 1 second?
Right.
So he added potentially false information into the universe. And then he also said that he thinks that Lisa Vanderpump bought out Tom and Tom's share of TomTom.
5%.
He says, I think that already happened, that Lisa already bought them out. And it's because she doesn't want to be associated with Tom and Tom anymore that she's rebranding Pump or TomTom as Pump. But I'm like, the entire time, I'm like, you talk to Lisa, right?
Yeah.
Don't you know if any
Don't you
of these
see
things...
her like 5 times a week?
I mean, is he no longer the manager of...
I feel like that would be big news. I promise you, if we went over there right now, he'd be there.
But I just don't understand why he was able to why he wanted to make so many false claims.
Yeah.
And then he also said he was throwing shade, a lot of shade in this interview. He said that he's never been to Schwartz and Sandy's, or he hasn't in a really long time. Sorry, he did go for those openings that we saw, I think, in Vanderpump Rules season 10.
Rachel.
But he doesn't go, but he said he's been hearing through the bar grapevine, like in the internal order of bars that talk to each other. He says that Schwartz and Sandy's is a ghost town. He said, which is like just throwing, know, unnecessary digs at Schwartz and Sandy's. And then he started to talk shit about Jax in that same interview, saying that he has no relationship with Jax anymore and he never wants to see him again if he could. Wow. So it was kind of it was a lot
going on.
I think that Peter, I don't know, there's no justification for him spreading a lot of fake news like that. Bravo fake news. I don't understand why he did that. And then Lisa refuted him very recently, I think in Us Weekly or Page 6 or something. She said, Peter, that's not the case at all, darling. She goes, we settled that months ago. Pump Garden was just an addition to Tom Tom. But thanks for the idea, LOL. And then she sent one of those, the smiley face that has your tongue sticking out to the side. Okay. And then she sent, I don't know what this one meant, the emoji that
nod your
is
head no.
half blurred.
Nod your head no.
Oh, is that what that one means?
Or nod your head yes.
Yeah. Oh. I never knew what those meant.
I love those.
Me too. And then the final nail in the coffin was she sent the emoji that was melting.
Oh no.
Do you know what I'm talking about? So a lot to,
she should have sent, my favorite is woozy. It's the one where it's like
oh, when they added woozy into the repertoire, I don't use emojis.
There's two woozies now.
What, really?
There's the wavy and then there's spiral eyes.
Oh, I love spiral eyes. I love woozy. I don't ever send emojis.
The number of times a week I type out woozy so that it comes up.
Oh, that's so nice. So she sent a lot of those. But what I found to be interesting more was the peek into Peter Madrigal's mind. Why?
The brilliant mind.
Why?
It's like that the John Krasinski animated movie he just made, and it goes, from the brilliant mind of John Krasinski. And I was like, oh, I gotta see this.
Who said that? What movie was about that?
If.
Oh, If was it said
it's from his
brilliant...
brilliant mind.
Oh, I didn't know it said from his. I've heard about it, Twisted Minds, before, but I didn't know the brilliant mind. Well, anyway, I was just like, what does this say about Peter? Because
I just saw a piece written about Zoe Kravitz because she just directed that new movie that's coming out, and it said inside her twisted mind. I'm like, I'm sure she's fucking sick.
It did? It said Twisted Mind about Zoe Kravitz?
Yeah.
Is she known
it was like Vanity Fair.
Is she known to be twisted?
Apparently. She's a sicko.
Zoe Kravitz. Who else has Twisted Mind? Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
If it's from his brain, it says from the absolutely...
Stephen King.
Oh my God.
John Carpenter.
Fucking absolutely twisted. From the demented mind.
Rob Zombie.
From the deranged mind of Rob Zombie. But wow. I mean, it is a huge honor when you get that, because that means you're known as a director. You're a name brand director. So you get...
I mean, the jury's out. It's her first movie.
Oh, it was Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
They might have been jumping the gun on that one. But all that to say, which I do agree with you about the John Krasinski branding, but I think that Peter lost his place in the Vanderpump Rules fandom. Well, not fandom, canon.
Yeah.
When his rate got too, he didn't get paid or he didn't think he was being paid properly.
Yeah.
Because he's still technically, I don't know, not even a friend of on the cast, and his rate now is, I think, too. He's too expensive to appear now, for the episodic fee that he requires. And I think this is his attempt to sort of, like in Garden State, scream into the void for all of us to hear him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I am scared for his future.
Oh,
I don't know what he's going to do.
He's making, he's
well,
probably.
Have you been to petermadrigalnetwork.net?
Let's look it up really quick. Peter Madrigal Reality Network.
It's giving like Tommy Wiseau ideas of how the industry works.
It is a full network.
What does that mean?
We need to look into this. I mean, we could probably have a show on it. Not to be braggadocious.
Actually, yeah.
Not to brag, but it wouldn't be the furthest thing in the world if you and I wanted to get our own television show on this network.
Maybe he can help us with our production.
Oh my God.
Be like, we'll let you post our videos if you give us studio time.
It's on Roku.
Okay.
You misled me for 1 second. No, you're right. Oh, I'm sorry. You were right. It's realitynetwork.tv, and it's also available on the Roku network.
Okay.
So I think that this is a little bit of, getting some attention, I think. And he's starting to border on, I want to tell tall tales or little fibs to start to get press.
Yeah. He's going to start doing the Kim Zolciak links.
We haven't checked, have we?
We have a friend that's going to something about her tomorrow.
Oh, really?
And I'll ask her to go look at TomTom and see what it looks like.
Oh, that would be, please.
Exclusive.
Will you, and then, let me know. We can talk off.
Maybe she could bring us a sandwich too.
That would be amazing. We can talk off mic, but they should, I guess we know now the rumors have been debunked. Oh, one last, do we have more news? I have one last thing about something about her before you pivot. Did you see, I saw this. I can't believe I just remembered this organically. Ann Maddox did you remember this?
I had that written down. So
you did?
I can mark it down.
Oh, were you going to surprise me with it?
Gotcha.
Wow.
It was a question mark of if it was worth.
Well, I just saw, okay, so the Sun, I've already talked about this. The Sun, I don't know where that newspaper is from.
Like the British paper?
No, it's the U.S. Sun.
U.S. Sun, okay.
The U.S. Sun. They get all of the something about, we've talked about this. They get all of the something about her exclusives because someone who's
they're like, oi, the bread crust ain't good.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's one of the headlines I read. But no, someone in the something about her camp actively leaks every information, every little secret that comes out to the U.S. Sun. And they said something about her. I don't know, this might be inflammatory, but they were like, what does it mean if Ann Maddox is getting her hours cut at something about her? You saw her post.
she that was giving celeb buzz hyperlink. Honestly, she was like, my hours are getting cut. Please support my podcast. But then I saw a different thing that someone that actually works there was like, that bitch never worked here.
Really?
Yeah.
Someone who works at something about her?
Yeah.
But if Ann Maddox can't work about something about her, who can? No,
I think she's using it as like a guise to be like, I would rather do my creative projects, like support me there.
Okay.
She's also, I keep seeing her in an ad. Have you seen that?
Me too.
What is it for? She's like at an office, like computer. I forget what product it is.
I should know because I should know this very much. I forget. It's a really good, very good ad.
She's prominent.
I'll remember it after. But yeah, no, that's the right framing. I thought
Comcast?
I was worried. What?
Comcast?
Oh, she's in a Comcast ad?
Yeah.
Damn, wow, she's killing it. Damn, what the hell? I thought it was gonna be a GoFundMe. That's what that
would be bleak.
Yeah, but no, it's just to get host read ads, which I was kind of like, that's relatable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wait, she also did something for Meta.
Whoa. She must have an amazing commercial agent.
Good for her.
Yeah.
So I'm not giving her money, but
well, good. Right, you're not. Yeah, right.
The last thing that I feel
that we're done with. You don't think it doesn't spell or smell like trouble just because Ann Maddox put that sort of inflammatory. It was giving clickbait a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I'm pretty sure there's still a line out the door.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because people haven't had that long. It's only been open since the end of May. Yeah. So basically June, July, August now.
I'm going to stop trusting the U.S. Sun because they were saying horrible stuff. So I'm not going to read them anymore.
The main thing that was like an actual news item, or Bravo release, is that we got the new RHONJ trailer, which you and me just rewatched right before talking because I wanted to refresh my memory and I don't know.
I don't know either. I want to go into season 2 of this relaunch RHONJ with an open mind. Mm-hmm. I want to allow them to have corrected their mistakes. And it is very true because I just watched Real Housewives of Miami, and it is true that first seasons, there's so much pressure on them because the casts are starting from scratch. and they don't have a history with each other, and there's no established dynamics, and most of the time they're not good friends, I'm like killing it with the dog across the street. Like it's like
He's like freaking out
clapping.
about this trailer.
But I swear, as you watch Miami evolve, and it truly evolves, I binged the shit out of it.
Yeah.
The cast dynamics, you watch them evolve in real time, and the shared history that they have, you understand all of the dynamics, and you see it's like a self-fulfilling ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so RHONJ could have just failed, and maybe Andy Cohen knows this, and that's why he's a genius or whatever. Like, it's quite possible that they might build on the relationships they have, and we start to get familiarity with some of these cast members, and then they start to weed out the duds, and then we know that Aaron and Uba have this simmering feud, and then they become friends around season 3. So I'm not fully counting it out, but then I watch the trailer, and I'm like, it looks like it has a lot of the same hallmarks as what I really disliked about the initial reboot, the first season.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like they learned from their mistakes. There's no huge interesting moments. It looks like a lot of like the same sort of fresh energy that they kept trying to brand the first season with. And so I immediately went back to being pretty worried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I mean, I wasn't hopeful in the first place, and then I watched it and I was like, first of all, doesn't seem like there's anything to bite into.
Like an apple.
Right. There's a strange through line about pigeons.
I felt like pigeons was the new cheese.
What was the cheese thing?
Cheese was, remember?
Oh,
you remember
the cheese arguments.
The early reviews of RHONJ season 1 was like, I love these new petty fights. It's so fresh and petty. They're fighting about charcuterie boards. And it was in all of the promotions like, these girls are fighting about cheese.
Right.
And it's supposed to signify this is like not toxic. We just fight about silly stuff.
Right.
And I think pigeons was a real callback to that silly aesthetic that they thought that RHONJ season 1 had.
Right.
And that all, for the most part, all of that conflict was like it was complete dud energy for everything they tried to bring to the forefront.
Yeah, it feels like a misunderstanding of the secret sauce.
Yes. And there's some stuff they included that is very bewildering. Like, first of all, I would have thought that Jessel was the absolute star now. And it doesn't look like they all reoriented around Jessel at all. Because I thought that she was like the clear standout that everybody loved from last season. But it doesn't seem like that had any effect on the cast dynamics.
Yeah.
I'm also worried because of what I already talked about, which is Sai De Silva calling it boring when she thought that she was not being recorded.
Yeah.
That's a very bad sign. It doesn't look, I think she said that Rebecca Minkoff is a dud. There's no strong moments really from the new additions that I saw. And I think the one big revelation, we just talked about this, but the pregnancy thing that they string out for 20 seconds, I think that's going to be about one of the new cast members, which you and I will, no one will give a shit about that. We're just meeting someone and we find out that they're potentially pregnant. Like why? That's not going to have any merit at all for us.
Yeah. And then they're like, it looks like they added a new gay cast member to, I wonder like what their angle is on, if it's like to bring out Jenna a little more, because she was always kind of an outlier just because she's shy and doesn't want to get involved with anything. So maybe they think if she has like an ally in that corner that she'll be pushed out a little bit, but judging by the trailer, she barely speaks a word. So that's interesting. And then we get to watch Brynn probably hit on the new woman performatively forever. And
it just reminded me so much of all of the things that you and I just like absolutely hated talking about when we were recapping the first season.
And it's like you can see it's like Uba's outrage that you're kind of like, wait, what are you mad about? Like there's nothing really to like get behind.
But you know, I guess even though I wish or I do always hope that the franchises are good, it is interesting to talk about a full flop. Like I remember when we were talking about RHONJ last year.
I live at a dog pound.
I don't think anybody will hear it, but it's so funny. It's like we have an audience of like barking dogs, whatever. I think it is for us as I don't know why no one cares about this, but it will be interesting. I saw people actually say this on TikTok. They were like, I'm excited for you guys to talk about it, for you and Amy to talk about it. I think that there is merit to us talking about why a franchise may not be, hitting out of the ballpark. So I am just sort of interesting to watch it, even for its flaws, because it's interesting to see what doesn't work with a franchise. And I think that that's what we're going to get with this second season, unfortunately.
I do think, though, like formal complaint, they have to just call it something else, like RHONJ 2.0 or whatever, so that, we've said this before, but on Peacock, it cannot be called season 15 or whatever the fuck. Like, I can't deal. Like, it's wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to see their faces when I go to watch season 3 of RHONJ.
But the proof already is that Andy and Bravo will never do this again, right? Because Atlanta was in the same dire circumstances, but they didn't do full reboot. They did cast upheaval, where it's like fire 4 and bring in 4 newbies with OGs.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're going to do with Jersey. I do not imagine a full reboot. So I think that maybe RHONJ will be the one iteration where they did that, and then the rest they'll never do that again. I'm hoping.
Did you see Luann posted today that it was RHONJ Ultimate Girls Trip Legacy coming to Bravo? And I was literally like, you know how sometimes Instagram will show you a post from 5 years ago or whatever? I looked at the date and it was still from today, and I was like, what? And I was looking at the faces. I was like, no, we saw this already. And then I got clarification. It's just that they're showing it on Bravo, despite the fact that it was previously on Peacock. But she posted it without context. Her post, it was clearly whatever copy they sent her or whatever. But I was like, it needed to be now on regular TV or something. I was my brain was literally they did it again. I was like, what?
I also thought, it was that was 6 months ago or 8 months ago.
It's a weird move to do it again, but it is. I feel like RHONJ's an interesting example because the talent there is so iconic, and especially Luann, she's never not in my feed.
I know.
We were talking about, she fucking went to Tilda Swinton's Scottish castle.
Yes.
And because there was the photos of them, Tilda Swinton went to her show, which some people were saying, because she's involved with that Jennifer Lawrence Housewives murder mystery movie. It's A24.
Oh, really?
I think so. And so
cool.
I think she's kind of doing research.
Wait. What's the A24?
There's a Jennifer Lawrence Housewives inspired mystery or murder movie.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think Tilda Swinton is involved with that, and so people think that's what she's doing.
What is the murder part?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. So Tilda's in that,
I think,
and she's such a not method, but she wants to get the research done. So she went to a Countess Luann show.
Yeah.
That's what she was there.
Invited her to Scotland. They were hanging out there, and she was like, you gotta phone up Dorinda. And Luann's like, she's literally in the UK right now filming Traitors, and she didn't answer her phone because they don't let you have a phone on Traitors. But imagine being Dorinda and getting out and being like, it's Luann and Tilda, come over.
Oh my God, I could not imagine. What?
I would quit Traitors. I'd be like, I'm leaving.
This really happened, right?
I choose to believe yes. I mean, there were the photos of her at the show.
How long was she there how long was Luann at Tilda's Scottish mansion? Scottish castle?
Forever.
And
she said that it's from 800, the year 800.
Right. I can't believe it. I mean, I want to know more. That was Sheena. That was on Shenanigans.
Oh,
so
right.
I'm very proud of Sheena for getting that
exclusive
scoop from Luann.
But I'm like, these stories, this circumstance is what you have turned your cheek from.
I know. I know. I think about it all the time. If they were filming RHONJ season 15 with the original cast, quite possibly they could have captured everyone going to Tilda Swinton's Scottish castle from the year 800 and shown a full weekend of doing that. Yeah, it's wild. It just goes to show how good Bravo is at cultivating talent, and how a lot of that talent is now being cast aside for new talent. And I think what we're saying is that sometimes, I don't know, we need to appreciate this talent a little more. Because the same thing is going to happen when they shove off the New Jersey talent, potentially. Like, where do you think, like Margaret and Dolores and Jen Fessler and all these amazing cast members, they're just going to go into the wind, and they're going to start, doing other shows, and people are going to be very happy to have that talent that Bravo decided to cast aside. Yeah.
I also feel like my issue is that I know that across the board, if we go back however many years ago, 15 plus years, all the women were younger than now. But I think I don't want it to skew young. I want them to be women of a certain age. Like, if you're going to reboot RHONY, make them like 50.
Yeah, I don't have any, like, I didn't imagine, I'd never thought that the RHONY cast members were getting too old. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it was the drinking.
It was?
It was becoming upsetting.
What was? Dorinda?
Sonia not being able to put a sentence together, falling out of chairs every single episode.
Yeah.
Dorinda getting like enraged in a blackout.
But even though they were drinking their asses off, I mean, we've talked about this when we talked about it so much last year, but like, introducing new talent into that universe would have been an easy way to pass the torch.
Yeah.
When when Sonia starts to get too drunk, it's like, well, we've already started cultivating new talent in the RHONY pool, and this is the person that's going to step up now to take over Sonia's legacy.
Yeah. I just don't really get, I'm also like, I understand why initially they were so horny for Jenna Lyons, because I said this at the time, like, I was a huge stan of that, her lifestyle, and she is like a cool New York person. But I'm like, but you run the personality test, the audition, and you're like, oh, actually, no.
Yeah. No, I don't understand at all, because I had no prior association with Jenna Lyons. All I see is her on the show, and she's absolutely miserable and doesn't like it and doesn't understand these franchises, doesn't really want to be on it, truly.
Yeah, like,
and
find some kooky bitch that works at a company we've never heard of. Who cares?
Right. Totally. I mean, your stature outside of the Bravo universe means absolutely nothing if you just completely flop. On Atlanta, they had Kim Fields, and Andy Cohen was absolutely delighted. He was like, this is a fucking get. He was so excited.
She's definitely top 5 worst, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm like, and then the opposite sometimes can be true, where I'm watching Miami, and I'm going to pepper it in because it's topical to me. Larsa Pippen fucking kills it on Miami.
Because she's nuts.
I don't even think she's that nuts.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm halfway through season.
You've watched more than me at this point. I just know what I've heard.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen. I know, unfortunately, Marcus Jordan, who I absolutely love. Now I have a little more context for him when he was. I didn't know him when he was snorting coke on that boat, and now I fully know who he is, and I really like him.
Okay.
I was like, this is a huge get. On Miami.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying it doesn't matter at all, like you were just saying. It doesn't matter where, like, when she did the audition, despite her J. Crew bona fides, you should have been like, I don't think that she works in this context.
Right. Like, imagine how many nutbags there are in New York City. Like, put the woman that, like, the co-founder of WeWork.
Yeah.
Like, people that, like, should be in jail.
Yeah. Sam Bankman-Fried.
Is that their name?
No, sorry. I was thinking, I'm reading this Michael Lewis book, and he's the guy who was a crypto guy, and he had billions of dollars, and he fled to the Bahamas, and he got arrested.
Like his wife.
Yes.
Shit like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, me too. Well, good. Well, 54 minutes. Not too bad for news.
Ain't no thing. Should we take a break, come back? We'll talk about whatever the hell that New Jersey episode was.
Yeah. Was that an okay news segment?
We covered a lot.
I think it had ebbs and flows for me personally.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay?
We'll keep it in.
Good. Everything?
All of it.
Really? Even the times where I flopped?
Yes.
And that time when I started crying?
It's all in.
All right. Okay, let's take a break. And then we'll talk briefly about Off the Rails.
Yeah.
Last week's OC.
Yeah.
And then the last thing we'll do, way down the road, is this week's
New
episode
OC.
of OC. All right. Goodbye. Amy.
Hello.
We're back.
Yes. So we're going to get into, it was almost this New Jersey, what they called like a replacement for the reunion. I was like, they've essentially forced us to watch that episode again.
But
the finale.
But with real-time commentary of them talking during it.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll just start at the beginning. So I liked this, I think, more than you. I liked it, but it's not sustainable, and it could probably never happen again, and it maybe shouldn't happen again. But why did it happen?
Yeah. I just don't understand the purpose that it even served.
Well, if they are scrapping this cast, or starting with a new, fresh version of New Jersey, then this was a way for them to see where they had landed after they saw the reunion, so that we get those takes and the new alliances and who is still feuding. So it was kind of just like a way for them to react to the finale finally, and then put a button on that chapter, I guess. But I was trying to think of like, really, what was the reason for this? And like, I was starting to think that like Margaret and Teresa like physically can't be in the same room anymore or something, and that's why they can't have a reunion. But then they're just at Rails, and they're just in different floors of Rails restaurant or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, besides, you talked about this last week, and we've like speculated on what happened to New Jersey, but I can only imagine that just something horrible happened behind the scenes that made this iteration not be able to move forward, because I don't understand at all. Andy, at the start of this Off the Rails special, he goes, it's him on Sirius XM, like talking about this, and he goes, "All will be revealed, ladies and gentlemen."
Has that ever happened before, where they put like off air, like Andy talking in the show?
No, and he wasn't.
It wasn't even Watch What Happens.
It was like Sirius XM, and he goes, "You absolutely, no matter what, will know why we didn't have a reunion when you watch this fucking finale." And I have no clue.
I saw someone online say, like, if Rachel and Ariana could do a reunion together, and like they had a bunch of other examples.
Why
of,
was
like,
Rachel the? Oh! I'm sorry. I'm
sorry. I switched to Vanderpump.
No, right. I thought you meant Fuda. Yeah. I was like, if Fuda can come to a reunion. No. Right, of course.
Like, there have been way worse circumstances.
Also, Teresa in this Off the Rails special told us what it would take for Margaret to get back in her good graces. Yeah. Margaret just has to get down on her knees and beg for forgiveness from Teresa and apologize.
Yeah.
But to me, we've already said this, so apologies, but because we're talking about the special, we have to talk about it. To me, I cannot see from these cast dynamics why they can't move forward. Mm-hmm. The only thing that gave me some explanation is Jen Fessler's song at the very end, which was...
Did you love it?
I swear, I got like chills.
It was very Sandler vibes.
I couldn't tell if it was like one of the most like impactful things I've ever seen. It was just so jarring and odd. And I was like, is this going to be the end of New Jersey as we know it? Is it going to end with Jen Fessler, a second season cast member, serenading us about the like behind the scenes drama of what happened in New Jersey? It was a very odd way to end this special.
It was.
But she says in that beautiful song, if you parse the lyrics, she said, after season 13, it was supposed to be on us to try to rebuild after what seemed like an almost too acrimonious split at last year's reunion. And we ended up just doubling down and going back into our factions. And she says, Andy said that is something that cannot be sustained. Uh-huh. So they had I think that it was like their orders to try to add, she said, class and bridge the divides in this cast in season 14, and they couldn't do it. And that's why Andy and Bravo are making the decision to scrap this cast or reshuffle it because he says that all cast, there has to be some light at the end of the tunnel where the dynamics can shift. But they got so clearly in their different teams and factions that he doesn't see how the show can move forward. So that is it. But still, regardless of that, why can't you give Jersey a reunion where the dynamics could potentially shift with Andy as an excellent moderator, which he always is.
Yeah. No, it's very confusing. I don't really get it. And then it's like, I don't know. Do you still feel like, I forget where we netted out the last time we were talking about what would make sense, but are you, if you had to choose between Melissa and Teresa?
Melissa stays.
Yeah.
Joe, we don't talk about it a lot, but the men dynamic, the husband's dynamic is very
important.
pivotal and powerful on New Jersey. It's one of the only franchises where the house husbands are like having the time of their lives and are pivotal to the action on the franchise. Yeah. So Joe Gorga is the leader of the Joe Bonino and Bill and all that stuff, formerly Bill. So I would keep Melissa and Joe. I think Teresa is the root of a lot of toxicity. Yeah. And I think that almost everyone would agree. Yeah. I think even Andy would agree. Yeah. I think if she sat out for one season, and unfortunately Jen Aiden would go with her.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Jen. And then you brought in maybe 3 new cast members, and maybe I'm trying to think if you have to get rid of somebody else to make way for 3 new cast members. I really like Rachel and John Fuda. John Fuda has the house husband's energy because he's starting to be good friends with the guys. Rachel, I think, is good. And Danielle is great. I really like Jen Fessler. I mean, New Jersey producers obviously love Jen Fessler. They had her close out this special. So I don't know who I would even drop to make room for 3 new cast members if you were going to replace... Jackie, but she's a friend of. Yeah. So if you replace Jackie, Teresa, and Jen and brought in 3 new powerful cast members, wouldn't Jersey just kind of shuffle itself?
Yeah. I think I sent it to you, but I was watching Matt Rogers do his take on Melissa versus Teresa, and he said it extremely succinctly, and honestly he said it so with so much conviction and clarity that it honestly made it sound like a very respectable topic. Wow. Like it was like interesting. Like I was like, if I showed this to a non-Housewives person, they'd be like, whoa, like that sounds so dynamic.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, what was his theory?
It was essentially just that like Melissa never stood a chance. She was jealous from the start because her and her brother were so close, and she was never gonna like someone that he married who he loved a lot. Her marriage sucked. Like her ex-husband treated her like shit, like put her in jail. Like it was like a nightmare. Yeah. He was like cheating on her, like etc. And then like they joined her show, she says, like behind her back or whatever, which was like her thing. Finally, like she finally had a thing that was like giving her like notoriety and a paycheck and like a life. And she comes in, this other woman that like essentially she's like in a relationship with her brother, and this other woman is like swooping in and stealing her brother. Yeah. And now she's stealing her spotlight. So it was just gonna be fucked from the jump. Yeah.
That all makes sense to me. I mean, I think Teresa as compelling and she has been the central figure, but I think you can kind of see where Teresa's power, like where it is at the end of this thing, where she only has Jen Aiden, the most loyal friend in the world, who will do whatever she can for Teresa to still stay in her good standing. You have Dolores, who actually loves all of the other cast members just as much, but she just has to pay homage to Teresa because Teresa will write her off as a friend. And then you have Jackie, this completely suck-up figure that just got into the Teresa orbit. She doesn't really have a lot of allies anymore. Yeah. So you could move past Teresa. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not like really interested in new people that would decide to side with Teresa. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't really want to watch that show.
I think so. Yeah, I do think that Teresa's gotten into an almost like indefensible position where you're almost suspect of anybody who does want to. Like when Jen Fessler was cozying up to Teresa for 4 episodes, we were just completely suspicious of her because it's like, Teresa, you don't like her. You're just doing this for some sort of storyline in a way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. I think that they have to move past Teresa. I just hope that they don't take out every single other person for what is mainly a failure of Teresa on the show.
Right. I'm trying to think if there was any standout moments really in
I felt like I loved when they reacted to Dolores screaming with the fury that they've all never seen before. That was like the most shocking moment for all of them to witness. Like Melissa didn't understand why Dolores was so mad. Margaret was like, "Can you believe this?" Like it was shocking. And to me it seemed like Dolores walked back that anger. And in my opinion, watching it now with the new context and having them comment on it, I think Dolores did sort of admit that at least it was broached to her about that reunion review, but she was talking about like it was the principle of being like called out as potentially a bad friend to Teresa, why she got so outraged.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what was the deal with like, it seemed like at the end of the season, Danielle and Teresa were okay, but then Teresa posted a thing where she scribbled out her face.
Yeah, that was at the very start. I think that, did Teresa, it looked like she scrubbed out every single person but her and Jen?
I think so.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I guess that, I guess
she was just like,
Danielle,
you're included too.
Yeah, you would just wonder why. There was a little bit of that. I did like for me, it was kind of interesting to watch because when you're watching the reunions, they've had time to really sit with their takes and really think about it. I did like just seeing their real-time reactions to stuff that they were seeing for the first time. Like when Dolores talked about Margaret in the confessional being like, now I know what Margaret is capable of and like how she can lie to a person. I did like that when you watch that in real time, like you get to see their reactions and Danielle and Rachel and Melissa are like, what is she talking about? And Margaret's like, I don't know why the fuck she would ever say that. Like I liked seeing the impact of the actual episode in real time, like what that has on them and their dynamics.
Right.
So there was some merit to that for sure for me.
Yeah. When Melissa said that Louis' niece came up to her down by the shore and was like, he's very dangerous, you should be scared. Teresa's like, I'm gonna tell little Louis what his cousin said. I'm like, you're trying to like break that family apart. Right.
Yeah, that was bad. And Teresa also did not have a good reaction at all when Dolores tries to take Louis to task for saying, I want to watch her son suffer.
Yeah.
Dolores said, that is awful. He's gonna get so much shit for that. And Teresa started to get pissed at
For what?
Wouldn't acknowledge it was bad, and she thinks that Margaret has wreaked so much havoc upon her and her family that it's justifiable. And then Dolores kind of has to yell at Teresa, and you watch Dolores sort of check Teresa a little bit to try to get it through Teresa's head that Louis needs to apologize.
Yeah, and then she starts getting pissed off, like, don't stick up for her in front of me, like you're pissing me off or whatever. Yeah. And I was glad that Dolores stood strong, because I'm like, in what world does everyone not agree that that's like a fucked up thing to say? Yeah,
totally. I had one question for you. Is Dolores a shitty mediator?
Yeah, she doesn't really get it done, huh?
I mean, like with how many seasons she's had, with her love of Margaret and Teresa, I would say almost equally. I mean, I'm sure she loves Teresa to her dying day and like they're like sisters. But I know she loves Margaret. When you see them interact, like she legitimately loves Margaret. Yeah. When you love two people and you've had 5 years to possibly bridge the gap, Dolores has not gotten it done.
No.
And like I'm just imagining, I don't know, you've probably never been in this context, and I've never been in this situation where you have to mediate between two people who hate each other. I mean, why would we ever be in that situation? But I was just like, this does really hinge on Dolores and potentially, Danielle, because she was able to bop back and forth before the scrubbing out of the face.
Yeah.
I'm just like, is this a failure of the mediators on this show.
It might just be impossible. They're like so stubborn. And also I feel like people are like, Dolores is like, I don't have the energy. Like, I'm just going to be Switzerland. Like, I am not trying to go above and beyond to vouch for either of you guys.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just like, I would think that for the show, and also if you just genuinely did love two people and you were like, you both have a horrible, villainous view of each other, but I love you both. Could I ever get through to you to show you the other side? But maybe you're right. Maybe she's just been doing it too long and she knows it can't happen.
Yeah. I mean, Teresa's like, you really can't get through to her.
Damn. She's changed so much since after that prison era.
I know. It's like, yeah, something needs to change. Like, it's just, I don't know. That's why I was just like, I don't want to watch this again.
Well, then you're kind of on the side, then, I mean, I think I'm so anti-reboot for this franchise that I'll take whatever they can give me, and I don't want to, like, consider it bad. But, like, do you think it was just the format that you didn't enjoy? Like, if this had been a 2-part reunion, would you have enjoyed it more?
I mean, remember the reunion last year was so good?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just more about like what this special was. There was some sloppy stuff in the special. They also had them all go to do confessionals in those outfits, one-on-one confessionals that they advertised at the very beginning, and then they never used them throughout the entire thing and just had them saying goodbye at the end.
Yeah.
They never used those confessionals.
Right.
So I feel like this was just a very haphazard slapdash production.
Yeah. That's the thing where I'm like, we need more information, because I'm like, it was only 13 episodes, ended so strangely. Like, I don't think that the finale, like, Jimmy wasn't home when it was on, and then I was watching this last part and he was like, was the finale crazy? Was it true what Andy said or whatever? And I was like, not really. I mean, the main bombshell was the Jackie thing.
Yeah.
And like, that's not even apparently worth talking about. Like, Teresa has no problem with that, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the finale, like, if this was we already said this, but if this was just how a season ended, you and I would have been like, wow, pretty good ending to a season. Let's watch the reunion and see how this plays out. Nothing about it seemed to me like, let's end this franchise now because we can't get past it.
Which is like another example of too much talking in a meta sense about the show. It almost makes you confused about what you're watching because you've talked about the future of the show so much and the format of the show and the cast. Like, it's like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, it's not my fucking job to put this show together. Like, like, I don't want to think about it this much. Like, just entertain me.
Yeah, true. So I think you're right. I think I enjoyed it, but it's not at all what I wanted from the end of this season of New Jersey. And then I guess if we want to, segue out a little bit, what did you think of Jen's song at the end?
It was fun. She's kooky.
Did it seem like, I mean, I can't believe they ended with a minute and a half original music by Jen Fessler.
I know. What was it? Teams Divided?
I forget the melody already. I was singing it all morning, but I completely forgot. But it was like, teams divided, pick your side and close your eyes and pray was the chorus. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a kind of a surreal ending to this special. But
we also got an announcement that Rachel Fuda is pregnant. She announced at the end of the
right, at the very end. I like that.
Maybe, I mean, I guess TBD if that child will be on TV or not.
Right. We may never see that child on television. We just don't know. Is that all we want to say about New Jersey?
I think so. It's like there wasn't that much like new information there,
Yeah, I didn't have my mind changed about anything that I watched. The only thing I liked was just, I did like the real-time commentary, but only as a one-time thing. I would never choose that as my format for any franchises to do as a special again.
Do you think they thought of that when they did that with the Vanderpump reunion, where they forced them all to watch that bonus or the ending together all at once?
Yeah, probably. Maybe this was the test balloon for how you can deal with
balloon.
Oh my God. maybe this was like a test balloon where the high highs, or if a season has low lows, if you have an egregious acrimonious split in a cast, they thought that maybe we could do something like this again. But you're right. I mean, it's like, it is very weird that they went to rails and just watched this finale on TVs.
Yeah. I know. I was like, oh, I wonder if it's like a screener. And at one point you could see the like tech room in the background.
Right.
And I'm like, they were waiting for Jen Fesser to come forever. And I was like, so the people downstairs are watching it at a different pace than the people upstairs. Like,
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah, it really was. Okay. Well, I don't know what that, I don't know what that means. And we won't know. We can't, there's nothing, I have no idea what the future of New Jersey is. So we won't know. I wonder if we're going to get an announcement, because it's like, don't we have to know soon, kind of?
Right. I know. I mean, it's like the whole entire Housewives, everything is a ever changing organism. Like, it's never like, well, we got through that hump and we're back, baby. It's like, it could change at any moment,
Yeah, totally.
But meanwhile, so we didn't talk about Orange County last week because we skipped it. But, I think we both agreed that it had a slow start, but by the end, the dinner was pretty juicy.
Yeah. What the hell was this episode called? Dinner Party from Hell, or
Dinner Party Disaster?
Dinner Party Disaster. So we didn't cover this, but we should cover the highlights now, because we're also going to watch this week's episode of OC. So we have to have the context. But I was sitting through the first 20 minutes and I go, what the hell is this?
Not to keep bringing up his takes, but Jimmy was next to me when I was watching this, and he heard all the taglines, and he always does like a live reaction to each one. And he's always like, oh no, that's bad. Or like, oh no. And then he heard, the only thing stuck up about me is my middle finger, and he was like, that's good.
Really?
He loved it.
Whose was that?
Tamra's.
Oh my God. Wow. Tamra got the
love
shout
that
out.
it's just like, you're like, my thing is that I flip people off.
Yeah, that is good. I like the taglines. I thought that for the first 20 minutes, I was like, is this season already sort of like running on fumes? I was a little worried because the paparazzi, the paparazzi Terry and Heather thing is already so convoluted that I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I did like that Terry was just like, yeah, I like my photo getting taken. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he goes, if there's a number where you can call the paparazzi, then please, for the love of God, tell me, because I'll call them right now.
That's the perfect way to handle it.
But don't we know that you can call the paparazzi on it? Well, you and I did it when we were outside of Something About Her. Do you remember I tried to get TMZ on
Black
them?
Grid.
What'd you say?
Black Grid.
We called that grid company. We said, Diane Keaton is here again. And then when they showed up, it was just you and I standing outside. But I'm just saying, like, you can call the paparazzi. I think that Heather and Terry are unfortunately caught in a little bit of a lie here. You don't believe me with that.
I just don't give a fuck.
No, I know. But,
I know.
Wait, don't you give a fuck that they're just like, they're lying?
No, I think it's the most boring drama imaginable, to the point that I'm like, fine, keep lying. I don't fucking care.
I think it's so boring. I think it's a retread of last season, but I don't understand. I feel like they're caught in a benign lie. And it's very interesting to watch now Terry say stuff that I think I know is disprovable. Is that a word? I think we know that you can call the paparazzi on yourself. I've heard of thousands of examples of this. So don't you think, doesn't it make you, I know you don't care, but doesn't it make you think about Terry in a certain way if he's actively lying, knowing that the paparazzi, they bought the ticket for the TMZ reporter to come in Disneyland with them. They had that perfect pose. And then he's going, if there's a number you can call to take a picture of me, give me that number. It's like, you're lying. And Heather's lying. You don't care.
I literally, you cannot get a rise out of me about this. Like,
okay.
If it was someone else where I was just like really, like maybe if it was like Lala or like someone that you're just like, shut up. You know what I mean? Like,
but I like Terry and Heather.
Yeah,
so I don't care that they did this. I think it's more interesting.
I just think it's like so, like literally the worst case scenario of it is that they lied about that. And I'm like, okay.
I agree. I don't like anything about it. And I also was just saying that it's convoluted now because now Gina Now it's all about the timing of it and when it was unleashed and when Katie knew.
Gina
and
got double fucked on this.
Gina got double fucked, but also she fucked over Katie, and Katie gets left holding the bag of shit, and then Katie cries on camera when she finds out how cutthroat and evil Gina was treating her about that information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's like, so this is part of the beginning of it.
This is the first 15 minutes, so we can just
Gina comes over and is hanging out with Heather and Terry, and she reveals that she found out that Katie knew about this in December, before,
and Gina knew too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knew about. So now, Heather's like, why didn't you tell me then?
Right.
But I understand being like, why would I tell you if I told her not to tell anyone? You know what I mean? Like, why do you preemptively tell Heather that someone knows something about you that I was like, well, don't tell anyone? Like, do you always have to be like, FYI, so-and-so said that she knew something about you? Like, do you always have to reveal?
I don't know. I don't know, but I think because you and I barely understand the timeline of this, it's a failure of the show.
It's fucking dumb.
And I think Katie is a new cast member, and she was relying on Gina to properly usher in this storyline if it would have merit, and Gina just completely fucked Katie over about handling this. And then also, like you said, then Gina becomes suspect of how she handled this storyline getting onto the show.
Right. I guess that's what I'm confused about, because so Gina I'm like, it's such a waste.
I don't even remember if Gina was the first person who said this happened, or did Katie bring it up first?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she brought it up to people, and Gina goes, why are you saying that out loud? I told you not to.
Oh, right. Okay.
So she's like, I told you not to go out with that as your thing, basically.
All right.
So that's why I'm like, it sucks that she's getting in trouble from Heather, because she's like, she went really out of her way to be like, do not make this your thing. Do not spread this. Like, Gina said she didn't even tell anyone else about it at all.
Okay, so So then I was blaming Gina too much. She did not want this out. Katie deployed it as a storyline.
Yeah, she did it anyway. She's like, I told you not to do that.
And then that's when that scene where Gina says, if you don't say now to Heather that you know about that, I'm going to bring it up to Heather because she's my good friend, and I have to tell her that I know about this.
And regardless of her trying to suppress this story, Heather's still mad that she didn't tell her preemptively.
Okay, all right, wow. So Gina's a little more in the clear than I thought.
Yeah, but she still has to eat shit from Heather.
Right, because Heather's pissed that she didn't know that this was going to get deployed against her.
And that's why I don't get why Gina, I think she's just kind of Heather's bitch. Like, Gina I would be like, bitch, I tried. Like, she went against my word. I was like, I told her 10 times not to tell anyone.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So it was more just a misfire on Katie as a first-time cast member to bring up season 9, last season garbage, and then Gina is kind of dealing with the fallout from Heather. But I think this is the end of it, right? Because they don't even bring it up at the dinner party. That's like a thing that is in the ether when they go to sit down at dinner, but neither Katie nor Heather bring it up. I think this might be over now.
Hopefully. I'm sick of it. And now, I don't know, like, what's Katie's thing going to be now? I'm not sure.
Yeah, but what did that scene mean when Katie was crying, when Gina was like, I should have been more deferential to Heather? I actually, like, you know what I'm talking about? She had that scene.
I deleted it. I was like,
And well, anyway, I don't know, but I thought that I just felt bad for Katie because I feel like she's just like not comfortable in this realm and arena. I think she thought she was doing the right thing, and then she kind of got left holding the bag a little bit. So I kind of felt bad for her there. But maybe that was just because through her own initiative, she started this like storyline that she shouldn't have brought up, I guess.
Yeah, she has nothing else.
Okay.
I kind of am obsessed with Shannon's dad, Gene the Machine.
Yeah.
More of him.
I love him too. I don't want to call him his other nickname, even though I was going to, but I absolutely love Gene the Machine. I thought he was really good in this, or I thought he was really fun to see him again in this scene.
I love it.
He's so supportive of Shannon, as he should be. Like, he was so sweet to her.
Drinking red wine at lunch.
Yeah, and he doesn't, it hasn't fazed him, the DUI. He knows that it was horrible, but he's like,
He's like, in my day.
he was like, did he say that?
No.
Oh, he was like, yeah, they let you drink your ass off and drive. But no, he was just like, that was rock bottom. You can only go up from here. And he was like, when he heard the John Jansen news that John Jansen was suing, he goes, you got to fight back with everything in your fiber against that.
Yeah, he goes,
lawsuit.
I don't care what it costs. Go for the jugular.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Which I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But yeah, she was kind of talking about her background, how she was like, yeah, I like grew up in a party family. We always had the chilled Chablis in the fridge all the time. I was like, all right, I want more on that.
I know, me too. Yeah, so
because she's like from the OC, right? Like, I feel like she like grew up in Newport or something. Like, she was rich.
Shannon?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
She's rich. Always.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And then we get, did you find this as hard to watch as I did? Tamra and Alexis together at Alexis's house?
What did you find to
Just
be
fucking annoying.
Alexis?
All of it.
What was it? What
like,
happened?
They should not get along. There's no
Yeah.
reason that they should. Alexis is so, or Lexi, as she's now decided we should call her, is so over the top.
Yeah, she Alexi is so is such a huge Housewives fan.
Yeah.
That she's like adopted the lexicon of all Housewives, and so she knows all of the like tropes and stuff that she can like tap into.
Yeah.
I think. I find Tamra just goes with the wind, so I don't really take any stock into the alliances she forms or even the enemies she makes, because I just never know where she stands with anybody.
It's just so weird to me to be like, for her to just totally believe everything she's saying about John. Like, Shannon always said that she had to pay for everything and like that they were drinking all the time. And Lexi's like, John has barely had a drink since I've been with him and all this stuff. And I'm like, you don't know this dude. Like, he's like scamming you.
Right. And since when would Tamra ever be on the side of John Jansen?
I know. It makes no sense.
Well, the only thing I do want to bring into evidence is if, Tamra says that Shannon would call Tamra drunk, or anybody who would listen drunk, and complain about how she would always pay for John Jansen. But then I was like, when Alexis does have the receipts or the wire transfers of the fact that this is real, that John Jansen said, I'm going to pay for not only your facelift, but I'm going to give you a loan.
Yeah.
I was like, doesn't $65,000 that John Jansen gave Shannon sort of mean that the storyline of Shannon paying for absolutely everything in John Jansen's life, isn't that kind of like, doesn't that make that a little bit more of a suspicious claim if John Jansen was able to give her $65,000 when she was down and out for a loan, and also paid for a facelift, even if it was a boyfriend, like a compassionate boyfriend paying for a facelift?
Yeah.
Doesn't it kind of take the wind out of the sails a little bit of Shannon's argument that John Jansen is like a deadbeat who never paid for anything?
Right. She was talking about that on Jeff Lewis's radio show or whatever, the first time she talked about that he was suing her. And she had more nuanced details about like the ways in which she would pay for him versus like this straight up cash loan. Like, I think it had like partially had to do with like her alimony or like, I need to go back and revisit it. But yeah, I mean, it's like if he just has that straight up cash, then yeah, it is a question mark.
It just kind of, it's just like, obviously I don't love Johnny J from what I've heard. And I never liked him. Even when he was Shannon's boyfriend, I thought he was always, I never enjoyed his presence on the show. But I'm just saying, if that's one of the claims against him, this kind of refutes that at the very least.
Yeah.
Because no matter how many dinners she picked up and food she bought, whatever she was buying for him, if he gave her $30,000 as a loan, it's like, okay, well, he gave you some money at some point too.
Right. I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. I need more details.
Yeah.
But apparently, I just saw, maybe that comes up in tonight's episode, I'm not sure, but she tried to settle with him because she knew that $75,000 wouldn't even begin to cover the legal costs. So she was like, fine, I'll just pay you that total amount, because if we go to court, it's going to be like 10 times more than that.
Right.
And he like wouldn't settle, and he like
Whoa.
wants to like drag this out.
Oh my God. Did you know that facelifts were like $35,000?
Yeah.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
That's so expensive.
You can't get shit done for under like 10.
Really?
Once they, especially when there's anesthesia involved, that's what anesthesiologists, as you should have learned from Anna Marie, make a lot, and because they're the most dangerous, they have the most at risk.
Oh yeah.
And so it's very expensive to go under.
Dr. Nicole, I think too, in Miami is an anesthesiologist, if I remember
cool.
correctly. Yeah.
I mean, they always say it's not I don't get paid to put you to sleep. It's my job to make sure you wake up.
Really? They say that?
Yeah.
Remember Anna Marie's tagline?
What was it?
It was you always keep one eye open when I'm doing your anesthesia. It was like, I get paid to put both of their eyes shut, but keep one eye open when you're around me. Right? Was it something like that?
It was something dumb as fuck. Oh my God.
Anna Marie. Well, all right. Okay, so you want to just talk about Dinner from Hell?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did think that this season, like you said, I don't want to talk about paparazzi anymore. It's too much for me. Tamra and Shannon, I'm more interested in, because I think that even though I disagree with Tamra 9 times out of 10, and I think she fakes her feelings about a lot of stuff, I do think if you are just calling into question Shannon's reckless behavior, Tamra could be construed as being on the right side of history for a lot of the comments she makes, even though she says it in the worst possible way, the most demeaning, abhorrent way of saying it. But you know what I mean? But like she's saying that she didn't want to enable Shannon's drinking after Shannon drove drunk and crashed into a house and potentially could have hurt herself. Archie was in the car. If there was a bystander or someone walking, you know what I mean? It could have been much worse. So
But she was cool with building their brand around drinking and being goofy drunks for years and years and years, and until that point.
Right.
Like as if she's like the queen of temperance.
Right. Okay. So then, all right. Okay. What I'll say is that Tamra is an imperfect vessel for this criticism, but because I do find credence to some of what Tamra is saying, even though
I just hate that she's doing it so maliciously. Like,
I'm usually anti.
No, I know. I'm just like,
malicious.
I can
That is what it
understand
is.
being like, you know what? I think it's a bad look, distasteful to go on with this party drinking Tres Amigas thing in the aftermath of what happened. Like,
Yeah.
I think we should like reassess, pause, maybe revamp the show. We'll figure it out. I'm your friend. Like, let's work on it. Instead, she's like treating her like she's a fucking demon. Like, she's treating her like she's like shaming her.
You're right.
Completely.
You're right.
I think it's like so cruel.
You're right.
And it's like, but she has tried to turn on Shannon like 10 times.
You're right.
Like, this is not the first time we've heard her be like, being her friend stresses me out. I hate getting the phone calls. Like, that happened like years ago. Remember in like Mexico?
Yeah. And you could if the wind blew a different way and that like arrow pointed a different way, you could totally imagine Tamra on the other side being like Vicky and being like, everyone shut the fuck up. My friend is had a miserable night, but she can rebuild past this, and don't ever fucking judge her because she's allowed to drink. Like, you could imagine her on the other side. So it is her, as is Tamra's wont, to make a meal out of something while she can.
Yeah. I just think it's so mean-spirited. Like,
it did really, though, send my... Do you say hackles? It kind of made the hair on my neck stand up when she just screamed that, out of nowhere, that Shannon was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Because no one would ever say that.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's giving Kyle Richards... Like, what did you say? Like, you're mean and nasty and you're an alcoholic in the limo.
Oh, yeah. It really did. And the silence. I don't know if they edited it out, like all of the chatter or anything, but it was dead silent, for 10 seconds as people like adjusted to the fact that
I wish
Tamra
that
had
people would stand up for Shannon a little more and just be like, what the fuck?
Well, they
like
did.
there was, but not enough.
No, yeah. Well, we'll talk about it.
And that's where Shannon's like, I think about what happened every single morning. And she goes, after you've had a drink, which I'm like, bitch, fuck off. Like, it's just so mean. Like, it's like, okay, so like if she is, then that's sad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's like rude.
Yeah, I guess this is tricky for me to say. Very tricky for me to say. Am I allowed to be worried about someone's relationship with alcohol? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you are, then don't be
Yes.
a fucking about it.
Right.
I pulled out the C word.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. I don't mind. It's only maybe the second time you've ever said it. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't know.
No,
I
it
think
is
that
like
if someone should. Here's maybe how I can get my point across. I valued that someone did bring up the elephant in the room in terms of alcohol, because no one else on this cast would do that except Tamra.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you completely. Absolutely. You know me 100%. It was the most tactless, mean-spirited, potentially fake way of bringing that to the forefront. But I at least do value that someone should at least broach that with Shannon on this cast, and I think Tamra is the only one doing that. And it added a little more validity to me when she says that I shut down the show because I shut down the show because I didn't want to be associated with so much alcoholism or alcohol related fun right after a DUI car crash. Because if anybody else had said that, you could imagine that their motivations were pure. But you're right. Tamra is not the right person.
Yeah.
Because we both completely judge her motivation for doing things.
judge.
Damn. We judged Tamra.
It just sucks that Shannon doesn't have a better ally, because
Vicky was a great ally.
No, yeah, but like even Vicky's not taking it very seriously. Like she's allowed to drink, like, which is true. But I'm also like, someone needs to be like, there should be like a heart to heart sort of a thing where it's like, why can you not take 6 months off? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if I crash into the side of a building, I'm going to say, even if
Crash in a building drunk?
Yeah.
1 month off.
Like, I don't think that because you get a DUI, you're an alcoholic.
Me neither.
But you probably just, at least for yourself, for optics. And for all of it.
Optics. No matter what. No matter what you say.
At least do like a 3 month, 90 day.
At the very least, for optics, Shannon she didn't have to order the Belvedere vodka soda at the dinner party 6 episodes into her post DUI. Right. I mean, most people would do that for just the optics and continue to drink. I feel like Luann sort of never declared herself officially sober. She just sort of changed her relationship with alcohol for a while and didn't actively drink on the show for like 3 seasons. Yeah. Until it started to like dabble back in, a little bit.
Yeah. Now all bets are off, but I think it's fine.
Of course it's fine with Luann. So I agree. I really do agree with you. I think even maybe optically it would have been good for Shannon to take a couple dinners off, even if she didn't have the problem. And I'm not even necessarily saying that I think Shannon has a problem. I think that it's a worthy concern, though, for Tamra to bring up. She brought it up in a horrible way. Yeah. And you're completely right about that.
Yeah. I liked how Tamra tried to toe the line, because Shannon's like, you're the one that got like blackout at Nobu and like fell in a bush or whatever fuck.
She said you went dead weight at Nobu. And I really like that expression. You were talking about fun ways to say I'm blotto. Yeah. Or pinko. Is pinko one?
No. Are you thinking of Plinko, the Price is Right game?
Yeah, I was thinking Plinko, drunk as a skunk,
you
wasted.
Like In My Cups.
I love In My Cups. I liked you got dead weight at Nobu. That was a fun new way to say it. And then Tamra goes, she goes, that was in jest.
In innocent, good fun.
That was,
She's like, there's a difference between having a good time and being an alcoholic.
She said that was frivolity.
And I'm like, all right, well, you write up a little chart on where one ends and the other begins, because you seem to really know.
True. I think that Vicky, you said no one supported her. I think Vicky was a good ally in that scene. And actually, I have to give credit, Gina and Emily in their newfound love for Shannon, because Shannon is finally giving them the time of day. Gina and Emily stood up to Tamara a little bit and pushed back. And Gina even said, Tamara, like you said, no matter what you think, that this is not the right approach to bring it up.
And so, Emily says, I think she's changed, honestly. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So that was nice. And then it gets into the money shit. Tamara accuses Shannon of drinking in rehab, I think is what she was trying to say.
She said that where you went when you got your rehabilitation was like more for counseling about your bad boyfriends, and that you're still allowed to drink during that. And then when Shannon said I wasn't allowed to drink at that facility, Tamara said lies. That's absolute lies.
Which I'm just like, it's so like not our fucking business of like getting into like the nitty gritty of like what kind of facility. And I'm like, yeah, like you don't need to like detox just because you have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. Like there's like a million different degrees to which you can get help. You know what I mean? Like it's like, just like fuck off. It just feels gross, you know?
Right.
Like Vicky said, it's icky.
She did. And Vicky, we should give her moment in the sun. Vicky's new thing is now when she gets an appearance on OC, she talks about how absolutely toxic it is and she wants to become a better person and that everyone should follow suit and stop the fighting.
She's a good Christian woman. She
is. And she was like, I know that there are other people who love Jesus here, you know, at this table, and we should all adhere to his principles. And then everyone is talking about what an absolute hypocrite Vicky is. And also I loved the moment when Vicky walks in and Alexis does this callback from
way back
12 years ago saying, welcome to my world. And Alexis hits Vicky with it. She's been waiting for a really long time to say,
I never would have remembered that.
No, and they absolutely had to show the flashback because Alexis says, now you're in my world. And then Vicky, when she gets to the table, everyone laughs when Alexis said that. They're like, good one, Alexis. And then Vicky sits down and she goes, sit down, bitch.
Who does she think she is?
Yeah. So, I mean, Alexis is like even more so. It's becoming very clear that she's like one of the biggest.
She's been on Peacock big time the past 6 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jen is the only one that goes after Shannon to find her, waiting in the hallway for someone to find her.
I didn't ask you this. Did you like Barry and Mary's?
What?
That's the place that they went for that meal.
Oh.
It was a
private room.
Yeah, it was a secret hideaway. Did you see how you tried to get in?
Yeah.
There was like a book of like Ulysses or whatever, and you pull it down,
Okay,
and then
Shannon couldn't escape.
Yeah, I know. It was another one of those moments when we were just watching where somebody says something and then they can't get out of the room.
That's the best. But yeah, so like Jen, I feel like is always just nice to everybody, which is why it's so sad when everyone's mean to her.
I think Emily Simpson. I think I read that she already is starting to try to walk back how critical she was of Jen.
Okay.
She's trying to get ahead of it already. Okay. So I think that because they have a scene where her and Tamara are walking and they're talking shit about like what she can't afford and stuff. And it's so awful that I don't think that they can justify that they did that for much longer.
For sure. Basically the last thing I'll say is just that Shannon's like, if you only knew the things I knew about John Jansen. I'm like, spill it.
She goes, if you knew the story of John Jansen. And then the producer goes, what is the story of John Jansen? And she goes, if you think he's suing me now, wait till you see what he would sue me for if I unleashed what a monster he is.
That seriously is so scary to like be dealing with a litigious person and like you just can never say anything because you're like, they'll take me for all I'm worth.
Do you have any litigious friends?
I don't think so.
I'm the litigious friend in my friend group. Yeah, it's not bad.
We need to get our contract in order.
Of course. Well, we're fine, but I don't know if you read the latest version, but there is a little clause for me. But whenever I go to my friend's house, like in an apartment, and I slip and fall, I say it's the landlord that I'm suing, not you personally. You know what I mean?
I think I told you this last night, but there's this new precedent. I was gonna say precedential.
Whoa.
That's the new word. Precedent-setting case where there's a wrongful death suit against Disney because a woman died in a Disney restaurant through like allergies or something.
Which one, if you don't mind me asking?
It was like at a resort. It was like something, I don't know what it is. And
not the Pirates of the Caribbean restaurant.
No, no way. The Blue Bayou, never.
Okay.
The husband is suing for wrongful death, and they are fighting him under the clause that they found that he signed up for Disney Plus like years ago, and that there's a thing that you sign your life away in there saying that you can't sue them.
Yeah, or that like it has to go to arbitration or something immediately. So if you sign up for Disney Plus in the terms and conditions, which, I read every single one, but I must have missed that clause.
Yeah.
But if you sign that, you cannot sue.
Do you think there's something in Peacock that like we can't sue Andy Cohen directly?
There must be. I mean,
they should add that in because all these housewives are coming for him.
Yeah, they really should. I thought when you said that, I couldn't believe that it was true. And then I saw the actual article. I'm like, how is that possible? I mean,
it's scary.
What have we signed?
Terms and conditions may apply.
I mean, I sign those things. You can't. I sign them faster than almost anyone.
Yeah. It's like Willy Wonka. Remember the print gets so small by the bottom?
Yeah.
And they're just like, whatever.
But I will give respect to Charlie's grandpa. He did read a lot of it towards the end.
Yeah. He's like, I need a copy of this. I'm going to, yeah.
But unfortunately, wasn't it that when they drank the fizzy lifting drink, when they were burping to get away from the fan,
they broke the contract.
God. Wonka was so...
All roads lead back to Wonka.
Wonka was so pissed at Charlie.
He's good acting. He's good acting.
Who, that guy, Gene?
Well, Willy Wonka, because he was tricking them. He was like, psych.
Oh. No, I thought he was legitimately mad.
No, he's like, you lose.
No, he was pissed. He was absolutely pissed.
No, because then he's like, you win.
No. I'm sorry. Amy, I hate to correct you on Mike, and we can go off Mike if you want. Charlie actually puts an everlasting gobstopper on his goddamn desk, and that's when Willy Wonka knows that he didn't sell out to Slugworth like the other naughty children. And then that's when you've never seen a face change.
Twist.
Willie goes from a full frown to the biggest smile on his face ever, and that's when he gives him the keys to the chocolate factory.
I'd be like, you showed your true colors 5 minutes ago. I'm not getting into business with you.
And doesn't it even out? You cheated with the fizzy lifting drinks, and then just because you did the gobstopper, now it's net neutral.
One was in good fun.
Other
one was a true character quiz.
Why do they never do a sequel? We've already talked about this, but I have to ask because I get so pissed. Why isn't there a sequel of Charlie running that factory?
It could be, who would it be? It would be like the guy from Challengers, and then Wonka could be Jeremy Allen White.
Wait. Jeremy Allen White. Wait, who's Charlie in this? No, wait. Jerry? Who's the guy from... You said the guy from The Bear. I don't know his name. And then who's the guy from Challengers again? I knew these names.
Mike Feist, because I want him in a new role.
I think Mike Feist, but can we talk about the casting of Willie? Is that up?
Why is it so weird to call him Willie?
I don't know, but what I find sort of interesting or beguiling is this property has a clear sequel, but all they do is prequels.
Who would you
and
cast?
Reboots as Willie?
Yeah.
I think that this is a post-Willie film.
Oh,
you got to make
he's
Charlie
dead?
the star. Willie had to go back to wherever they found Oompa Loompas because there's a major catastrophe happening on Oompa Loompa Island. Maybe he comes in towards the very end, but Charlie needs to start to descend into madness as he owns that factory.
Okay. He handed it over.
This is Charlie's story now. Okay. You know what I mean? That's in my.
We could get there with the Timmy, because he enters the factory. Yeah, it's like the beginning of the factory in that movie.
This would be post Timmy as well.
Okay.
So, did we?
Well,
it's decided. Do you want to end this?
Yeah. So we are in real time right now about to watch the new OC, We're going to come back in 44 minutes.
So you're going to have Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs. These are going to be the hottest takes you've ever heard in your life. Amy and I are going to watch this thing and then record. So that could be good.
Super piping hot.
This actually was more fun talking about this episode than I thought. Last week's OC. I think we really got to the root of that thing, don't you think?
Good. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. And
All right.
it'll lead into this next one.
Great. Perfect. All right. Let's take a certified turtle piss break and watch OC.
Sounds good.
Amy.
Hey.
It's been an hour and a half since we last recorded, but no time will have passed for Little Turtle Cuties.
Yeah, it's magic.
Isn't that amazing?
How did you enjoy All Up in Gina's Grill?
That's what it was called.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun enough. I thought it was pleasurable to watch. Obviously, I know that we dove even deeper into Paparazzi Gate.
Yeah.
Which you and we already talked about that an hour and a half ago. We didn't want to see any more of it. I said it was over. They needed
Boy, were you wrong.
Boy, was I wrong. They needed one last gasp of it. Now it seems.
Yeah, well, now it's like not even about the truth of the matter. It's about the minutia of who set it forward or didn't stop it or whatever, which is also confusing.
And now Gina is getting the brunt from everyone about how she handled it.
Yeah.
Heather thinks that Gina betrayed her by knowing this information and maybe soft launching it into the universe potentially. And then Tamara is spreading rumors that Gina set Katie up with this information. So not only did she betray Heather, but she also was trying to make Katie look bad and bring this up on the show, knowing that this was going to flop, for Katie.
Right. Yeah, I need it like more clearly stated because my understanding, which I just said an hour ago, was that Katie brought it up to Gina. Gina, at least what she told us, was that she told her not to come forward with it. Now the thing on this episode is that she didn't tell her fast enough to not move forward with it. She says it only took her 10 minutes to realize that she should tell her not to move forward. But Katie says it was a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
But then the real question is it that she, through inaction, allowed it to move forward, or did Gina literally tell her to do it?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to think the worst of Gina. I actually liked Gina this episode. I feel like she was doing a good job of taking accountability. So I really don't know. I just don't understand the intricacy of this thing. And like you said just 30 minutes ago, we both really don't care about this anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't want to use my brain power to even thinking about it. I just have to accept on its face how it's affecting the cast.
Yeah. I'm also like, Katie, that's on you to assess what is or is not good tea to bring.
True. I think that's true. I think you're right. I think that Gina is getting overly blamed.
Yeah,
for this
from both
whole
ends.
scandal. Yeah. You asked me, but did you like this episode?
It was fun. It's always fun to have a change of scenery, which we got 2 separate locales.
Yeah. So in this episode, what was it called again? Gina.
All Up in Gina's Grill.
All Up in Gina's Grill. We would have never guessed, but they just decided to do 2 rival trips.
Yeah.
This episode without much rationale for why the group is completely, split for these 2 trips.
It's the beauty of Southern California. You can go to the mountains and the desert all in one day.
Whoa. It was sort of showcasing the beauty of California in a way.
It's true.
Because in one scene, you watch them in La Quinta grilling hot dogs by a fire, hot as hell.
Yeah.
And then the other cast members are going down a mountain filled with snow.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's amazing.
God. Wow.
We also, apparently there was this part of the dinner from last week they never showed us, where Emily goes rogue and starts roasting Jen about being poor while wearing a Rolex.
If you thought you had seen Emily mean to Jen already, this was shocking to see the clips from that night that they didn't want to show us last week on the episode. She said, "You are fucking stupid." Right?
Yeah.
She said something like, like, you should not have a Rolex anymore, even though it's not a
sell
working
it.
Rolex. You should sell your car. And she goes, if you aren't doing that kind of stuff, you are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And then they're in a gift shop. It starts with Heather and Emily having this conversation in a gift shop. And even Emily admits she was drunk off of her ass and she might have gone a little overboard.
Yeah. It sounds like everyone was in their cups because everyone was hungover this next day.
Yep.
And along at a different location, Tamara and Jen are on the beach talking, and this is where is Jen the one that brings up that Gina said her best friend has changed, as in Emily?
Yes, exactly. Is that
So whatever, that's setting the scene that it will be a topic of conversation that Gina has said that Emily has changed.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, there have been whispers behind Emily's back that Tamra has been influencing Emily's behavior and making her meaner and more aggressive than she normally is. And that comes back to Emily later in the episode.
Yeah. And then Gina, Katie, and Shannon are shopping, and Heather's pissed off bringing up the Gina stuff, saying, why didn't she vet this paparazzi information? Then
she did vet it and determined it to be true.
When?
Well, it is true.
Says who?
It's true that it happened.
Why?
Because there's no paparazzi allowed at Disneyland. I think Katie legitimately called a TMZ reporter and asked, can celebrities...
I just think that text sucks as a smoking gun.
So you think in your...
Like, we don't know who that person is. We don't know who they work for. We don't have any correspondence between anyone at Team Dubrow making that call. We just have a guy replying YES to her question on, like, Instagram.
Here's what I'll say. I agree with all of those points. Absolutely. 100%.
I could text you and be like... did Heather get her photo taken at Disneyland? Did she request that? And you could be like, yes.
I would say no, never. She would never do that. No, I think that Katie, I don't know, you don't believe Katie as much as me. And I don't know Katie at all. But I believe that Katie rightfully had a contact in at TMZ, and she wanted to know when she saw those seemingly staged looking photos, she asked a friend who knows about this, hey, those photos seem kind of weird. Did Heather and Terry call the paparazzi on themselves? Thinking this is a silly scandal. Absolutely, that at any time anybody could own up to this. And the contact that she trusts said yes. Mm-hmm. You don't believe it at all? Well, I don't understand why Katie would come into this group fabricating every aspect of this story.
I just don't know why she did it at all. It's fucking stupid.
That's where I think Gina motivated this storyline along. I think that Gina, in some way, allowed, which is why Heather is mad at Gina. She allowed this story to get fuel this season, and that's why Heather feels more betrayed by Gina than she even does about
Why
Katie.
would Gina do that?
I think Gina was either giving advice to Katie that could be a provocative. No, you're right. I don't know why Gina would just outwardly.
I think
betray.
Gina's scared of Heather, so I don't know why she would do that.
Okay, so and you originally said that. I mean, we're getting really into it. You originally said that Gina, because she's a good friend, tried to nip this in the bud, and Heather is only mad at her for not telling her that this could even conceivably come up in the future.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which we'll get into it more because it goes on and on. But okay, so then Shannon is bringing up. She brings up that John Jansen is suing her again, which I'm like, I think that was established already. But so Gina is like, wait, so let me get this straight. Alexis has now been with 2 men who have sued you, which I don't know why I didn't. Like, we know that, but when you say it like that, you're like, damn, what the fuck?
Seriously. Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, she is the common denominator in both of these major lawsuits against Shannon.
Yeah. And then we get the setup that, as we know, Gina is selling that woman Elizabeth Vargas's La Quinta property. She was on the COVID season.
Yes.
And she makes a little cameo on this one, which I'm like, it's all very strange.
Yeah, I didn't really understand if this was like maybe trying to get Elizabeth like back in as a friend of.
Right.
But I think
she didn't even hang out.
No, I think it's just that this was an actual connection between Gina and Elizabeth, potentially through the show, and they're like, okay, we'll just allow Elizabeth to be on the show again in this one scene. Do you remember anything about Elizabeth's run?
I remember she was in a cult.
She was in a cult.
She was like getting divorced.
Yes. And then the one thing I remember is I'm almost positive that she was the one who called Axl Rose on the phone and said, I personally know, or maybe it was Slash. And she goes, I'm going to call Slash. And then it goes, this number has been disconnected and hasn't been used in over 7 years.
Yeah.
It was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we talked about that already.
So then we find out, which I didn't understand this, why they didn't set the scene. I think I needed one scene of somebody saying, we can't all go on a trip together because it's so fucked up. They didn't do that. It was just like they started talking about the La Quinta trip, and then Katie goes, God damn it, I already have to go to Big Bear.
Yeah.
And then we find out that because there is a fracture in this group to where Shannon and Alexis can't go on a trip together. They would never conceivably go on a trip. And then who else is enough of a riff? Katie and Heather, I guess, are another reason why.
Yeah.
And then Tamara and Shannon. I guess it is fractured enough to justify 2 trips.
Right. And so then we get a lot of them getting ready to go on their trips. We get some comedy where Shane is like, don't eat in my truck. And then Emily's like, oh, I'm going to eat in that truck.
Yes. I liked that a lot. And then Gina shows up and she goes, Emily said, I'm going to scream really loud for Shane that we're definitely not going to eat in the truck. And so she screams, knowing that they're going to, break the rules.
Yeah. Then immediately it's made clear that Shannon has made chili in the crock pot, which will be going in the truck. And then on the way there, they went to fucking Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Do you think that was Spawn?
It looked like there was a little too much focus on Jack in the Box for me to think that this wasn't an ad.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, Jack in the Box, that they've had Bravo ads for Jack in the Box, haven't they?
Like special ones?
I'm not sure. I got it confused with the Deadpool versus Wolverine because I think Deadpool was also, he took over the Jack mascot for about 4 weeks.
He did?
Yeah, Jack, this was like crazy. I went to Jack in the Box every day to get every collectible, but on all of their memorabilia, Deadpool wore Jack's little hat.
We're not going to get into it, but I was going to say earlier when we were talking about the news that I was like, I can't handle any more Bravo news because my brain is completely filled with Blake Lively online slander. That's like the only thing I care about right now.
Yeah, I tried to get into it enough to be able to have a conversation with you if it did come up, but I know I'll never reach the bottom of what I missed.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I already established before any of that came up that I think that couple is a couple of degenerates.
Really? And I don't want to say it, but I found a newfound appreciation for both of them.
Oh.
I wanted to say one thing, speaking of McDonald's memorabilia. Fast food. Fast food memorabilia. McDonald's has a bunch of limited edition plastic cups right now. So wherever you are, go to McDonald's and they have a Barbie plastic cup, Grimace, and
Barbie?
Yeah, Barbie, like a Mattel branded plastic cup. Grimace, the classic Christmas Coca-Cola bear. We've been trying, Megan and I have been going once a day, loading up on all the McDonald's we can eat to justify getting a plastic cup. And they're limited edition.
So you have them?
We have one. It's what's it called when you can't choose?
Oh.
It's a complete, it's an item in which we don't know what it is, and I think we got the Christmas polar bear, Coca-Cola branded.
So you just get a soda and it comes in that, or you have to get
10
it separate?
chicken nuggets and then a Diet Coke, and then you get permitted to be able to take ownership over one of these cups.
Okay.
So, did you notice that they have group names, these two disparate trips?
Yes.
The Big Bear Babes versus the La Quinta Ladies. And I wanted to ask you, I think I know your answer, but which trip, if you got invited, would you want to be on with of those groups?
Well, I say La Quinta, but actually the outcome of the party, it was kind of a bummer.
Yeah. I agree with you fully. I would have rather gone to La Quinta with that cast.
Yeah.
But I do think there was more of a semblance of fun in Big Bear.
Yeah.
Right?
They were just drunk. So that's good for me.
Me too. God, yeah. I wish I was drunk with them like that.
So on the drive to Big Bear, they give Alexis the ramblin' cut where she's talking about Johnny J for what seems like hours. Everyone's like, what the hell, shut up.
So we now know definitively that Alexis's role on this show is to do a PR campaign for John Jansen and to rehabilitate his image, because 95% of what she says is to make John Jansen look good.
Yeah.
Why is she doing that?
Well, she'll take any opportunity to get back on the show.
But
So-
this is a very bad strategic way to get back on the show. All of the other cast
how else
members...
would she get on?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Oh yes, the impetus for how she is on the show is good, but don't you think that she should make hay while the sun is shining and not
Now that she's in.
Now that she's in, strategically, they're all like, please be quiet about John Jansen. You need to make a name for yourself again and revitalize your image for all of the audience. Don't just be talking about John Jansen. I think this is sort of a
People
bad...
keep trying to tell her that in the
Yeah.
flesh. They're like, why don't you like let us get to know you instead of being so combative?
Oh, so wait, but in your theory, is she talking about John Jansen all the time because she knows that is why she's on the show?
Probably.
Huh. That actually makes it more like a better strategy than I thought.
But she's also like, that's how she was with Jim too. She's like, my husband is my king. Like she's like obsessed with her man, you know?
Who was cooler?
Jim.
Big Jim Bellino?
His jewelry.
He was so...
his collared shirts.
I love, and I'm not even saying this dismissively, I love that he did the second season glow up where he did his... He
Chin
changed
implant?
Yeah, I liked that. Was he fun for the most part?
No, he was bad.
He was bad, and he was actually one of those house husbands that he seemed like he absolutely despised every aspect of it and hated being on it. But then you find out that they secretly love it, and they're like playing dirty behind the scenes and rolling around like a pig in shit.
Yeah. I just remembered the whole Alexis had a fashion line at one point.
She did?
And you got to see her put it together, and it was a total shit show. And she was just like, basically like copying designs from someone else and putting her name on it, and like had no skills in that department whatsoever.
What about when she became a newscaster?
Oh my God, yeah.
Do you remember that?
She did that like workout segment. And
Yeah,
it was a disaster.
And she was flubbing the lines, if I remember correctly. She was
They were
flubbing
like,
them like
let's
crazy.
think twice about this partnership.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they get to Tamara's house. It's, it looks like every Airbnb cabin you've ever stayed in.
Can I classify the aesthetic?
Please.
Big Bear chic. Right? It has can I just say some of the stuff? It has an arrow that points north, south, east, and west. Mm-hmm. It has a bear in the corner stuffed. It has
Wood.
It has a framed photo of California. What else?
Tamara and Eddie on their Harleys
That looked
framed.
awesome. That was really cool.
I want to do a themed photo shoot.
like that, right? Like
Yeah.
two
Yeah, like
badasses on a
I have to
motorcycle?
figure out what my angle is. And then while they're there and they're all like, Tamara, you did all this. You're so talented. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, you mean because I think that it was very clear that she was replicating an aesthetic that you said it best. Every time I go to an Airbnb in Big Bear, they look exactly like that.
Yeah, like whenever I'm looking
To a T.
to go again and I'm browsing, I'm like, did I stay there?
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm always like, did we go there?
I've been to Big Bear like 20 times.
Yeah. It's always like the balcony with the view of the trees or the lake. It's like half the time it's A-frame.
Yeah.
They all look exactly the same.
They really do. So hers is sort of very much, if you were wondering what Big Bear places look like and you've never been, that every single place in Big Bear looks exactly like Tamara's. And then unfortunately, worst case scenario for Tamara, she's showing around all of the shit on the walls and everything in her place. And then all of a sudden she knows that her roof is leaking and it's pouring all over the ground. And she goes,
Sucks.
only my luck would have this happen when everybody's here.
Yep. Then, okay, first of all, I need to bring up, I think it was her confessional look last week too, but Gina's confessional look.
What? Tell me, because I've heard people have said to me, they say, this is one of the worst confessional looks I've ever seen. I do not look at people like that, so tell me what's wrong with it. I really want to know.
It's like a metallic glazed denim dress that has these little breast like underwire cups that like don't really align with like her chest size, and then her hair is like a helmet of like hairspray, like it's like almost like 60s but not. It's just like kind of like Long Island, which I guess is her thing, but it's like the most like jump scare shit I've ever seen.
So is it all of those pieces working together that makes it so
Yeah, it's just like tacky
tacky?
personified.
All right. Well, Gina, I know you listen to Turtle Time, and I'm sorry, but I think even you might admit that maybe that was a swing and a miss.
Yeah,
Right?
agreed. Okay, so then we're back at La Quinta. They're showing us that $8 million house or whatever.
Do you like that house?
The remodel. Everyone needs to stop making everything white. I'm sick of it. Like, we live in hell. Like, please put some color, put something.
It'll look just as bad. In 20 years, everyone will be remodeling these piece of shit white modern houses and putting like brick back in them.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like, especially, I'm like, Palm Springs and La Quinta, like, it's like, I don't know. I'm like, when you looked at that house, you could not tell where you were.
Yeah.
Like, there was no, like,
Yeah.
I would say, like, you would skew, like, Spanish style in La
Yeah.
Quinta or, like, whatever. And it's just, like, I literally couldn't tell where that house was.
Beautiful backyard, though.
Yeah, it had, like, a lagoon.
It did. And there were over 300 koi fish
That
in this
stresses
thing.
me out.
That's
That's, like, a lot of care.
account for them. I know. I think you just have to throw a handful of grub once a day.
I hope that they're doing that when no one's living there.
And then there was some fun. I don't know if this is too stepping on it, but Shannon did. Ever since you told me that Shannon likes physical comedy, it's all I can see now. Like that she likes to do Lucille Ball / Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy type routines. She does so many this episode.
Yeah.
She goes into the truck and she's like, we need the cooler. And like she goes in and she goes, whoa. And she gets stuck in she's, what's it called when you dangle your legs? Like she's stuck in the back of the truck. Like she does so many little.
She loves it.
Yeah. Like she loves doing
It's her passion.
I really like that. There's not
Yeah.
a lot of other cast members on any franchises that just really dig their heels into physical comedy like that.
Her and Vicky really do it a lot.
Vic, for
Yeah.
sure. They were partners in crime in terms
Totally.
of that kind of stuff.
And then once for some reason, Heather brought a little mini like Weber grill, even though the mansion has like a very nice grill. And so they're like making hot dogs on that. Gina brings sweaters that say girls trip. And Gina's very worried about them spilling and mucking up the listing house. And Heather they're making espresso martinis and the shaker falls and shit goes everywhere. And she's like, was that like on purpose? Do you hate me? And then Emily's like, I'm going to take over and do it now. And then she starts shaking it and the top falls off again and just like sprays like brown shit all over the white kitchen.
Yeah. I've had that experience where you're trying to do everything right when you're staying in someone's house and then all of a sudden like everything goes wrong because you're really paying attention to everything you're doing. So that was really silly.
Yeah. Goofy.
Then
we go to La Quinta. They're having cocktails. Tamra basically says that Alexis isn't worth the Grey Goose vodka and gives her Kirkland vodka, which everyone says that Kirkland vodka low-key is Grey Goose, right?
Yeah. Why did she say that?
I don't know.
I didn't understand why she thought that. She was saying like maybe Alexis would never notice or something.
Yeah, like she's not much of a drinker maybe.
I don't know, but it's like you like Alexis. And
Right.
you're telling us how much you love Alexis. And then you're starting to like make fun of her and say she's not good enough for certain vodka.
I hope Tamra just turns on everyone.
I did want to say before we got to this though, Shannon did find a bunch of mold on all of the kitchen cutting boards.
I think she was being overly sensitive.
Oh no, I saw when she turned that one away, there was a bunch of fuzzy black mold on the back.
Fuzzy?
Yeah, you know when mold starts to get really, really thick, like it starts to look like
Fuzz.
So then, yeah, you're right. It's Big Bear time, and if I'm remembering this correctly, she has to call. Does she call?
FaceTimes Johnny J. She laughs at every remark she makes. She's just
yeah.
Tamra's like, you look amazing. You look so fit. Eddie loves you. And then in her confessional, she's like, he looks light as a feather after having all that weight lifted off him. She said, I'd say 150 pounds worth.
And I said, what? I asked you, I go, what does she mean by that? And you said, she means Shannon.
Yeah. I wish I weighed 150 pounds.
What'd you say? What'd you say? Okay. Well, yeah, and then I think that Tamra is unnecessarily shining John on a little bit. She's like participating in this John Jansen rebrand, and also by telling the audience that Eddie loves him and she never had a problem with him.
Yeah, it's too much.
She thinks that Shannon was solely responsible for the horrible view we have of Johnny J, even though Shannon was a huge Johnny J supporter up until the off season when they broke up.
Yeah.
She was the one that was doing damage control for him all the time.
Right.
Hot dogs?
Hot dogs. We get Shannon. They have like a nice moment that, they're getting along. But then Shannon is like, Emily, look, apparently Gina is telling people that you've changed and that you're up Tamra's ass and that she's made you a meaner person.
Yeah.
And Emily's like, are you fucking kidding me? She's super pissed. Ooh, there's a little jingle going off because the dryer went off.
We're drying clothes.
Forgot about that. It's the longest jingle in history.
I'm sure our little turtle cuties can't hear it, but it's a beautiful, beautiful jingle.
There's one more part. Wait.
3 little bears go through the woods. Wow, that was beautiful. Well, you probably all didn't hear that, but it was a beautiful dryer
Our
jingle.
Samsung dryer little turtle cuties know that jingle by heart, I promise you.
And then Emily goes, I was always mean and aggressive. And I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
Emily, I think when I watch, Emily is one of my favorite cast members on the show. I think she's very underrated. But even for me, it is very jarring to have Emily go head to head with Jen about her being poor. It seems completely out of character. So I kind of agree with these accusations.
Yeah.
But these hit Emily like an absolute ton of bricks.
Yeah. She's like, my heart rate is going a million miles a minute. I can't even eat right now.
And I really did like this. I have to give Emily credit now immediately after because, well, first of all, she has admitted slowly that she's treating Jen like shit.
Yeah.
So I think she knows that was too much for us. But I thought that Emily's reaction was very real because 90% of the time, the minute that information gets conveyed to you, you immediately go in and you say, I'd like to have a talk with you. And then Gina and Emily would be having the private sit down immediately after and addressing it. I kind of like that Emily stewed for a little bit and didn't let anybody know how she was feeling. That was different energy than I'm used to when conflict arises.
Right. Like passive aggressive.
Passive aggressive. And also I think it made it feel more real to me that Emily had to reckon with Gina talking shit behind her back because Gina is her actually good friend or actually a good friend.
Yeah. So it now at this point is going to be going between the Big Bear dinner and the hot dog La Quinta dinner. But Emily brings up what Gina said, what we're just talking about. And she's kind of like, that's not what I said, or that's not how I said it, or whatever. But the message is that she has changed. And then Heather butts in and goes, Gina's the one that's changed.
Yes. And then what started as Heather bringing up her feelings to Gina completely gets co-opted for the rest of the meal by Heather and her personal grudge against Gina. Yeah. And then Emily even makes a remark saying like, damn, I thought I was having a talk with my friend Gina and I don't mind that Heather completely stole that from me.
Right. So then it turns into it goes back and forth because in Big Bear, Tamra's talking about, she brings up to Katie the Gina paparazzi thing. So we're hearing it over there. Mm-hmm. Then in La Quinta, Heather's talking about, she's pulling out the big guns, the food out of my children's mouth kind of a vibe.
She upgraded this catastrophe or hurricane of conflict from a tropical storm to, what's the worst one? 5?
Yeah. In Twisters, there's the 5 is the worst.
Do they go even past it?
5 is like, as they say in Twisters, you don't, you can only assess a tornado by the damage it has caused.
After the fact?
Yeah.
Oh, so when you're looking at those things, you're like, I don't know
You
what
can't
the
say
fuck.
like, that's a 3 because you don't know till after.
So the Wizard of Oz one.
That was pretty bad.
But you
Yeah,
you said the
she
same
goes-
thing. Heather wants
yeah.
to add, which I don't know why. I guess to be a compelling cast member, she wants to make this much worse than it really is.
She's like, I will blow this up so hard you're going to regret ever saying it because I'm going to be so fucking annoying.
This hurts my children. My kids are in college and they've been calling me crying, saying, Daddy, Mommy, why did you take a bad photo at Disneyland? I don't even really understand her rationale of why when they saw the paparazzi photo, they would be upset to know that it was potentially fake.
No, it's because people are gossiping about their parents.
Cheating.
It's just any rumor mill about their parents is bad.
Okay.
And she's comparing it to when Shannon was saying that the CPS was going to get called on Gina.
Which we said last season, that was one of the worst accusations ever.
Yeah.
And Gina was completely in the right to think Shannon was horrible
Yeah,
for
that's
saying
like
that.
the worst of the worst.
And Gina acknowledges in her confessional that this is not at all equatable.
No, and Heather even goes as far as to bring up her kid Max's anxiety issue.
Right,
And I'm
that's
like,
what it
we
was.
don't need to get that in the mix.
Yeah.
Like at that point, just you can't be on TV then if you're going to say that any public discourse about your family is going to be problematic.
But I'm not sure even what Heather is talking about here, because what role did Gina play? Hers was specifically about the paparazzi reaction. It really has nothing to do with what led to the paparazzi photo, which was rumors of Terry cheating.
Right. Yeah, that I didn't even think of that. I think it's literally just like any gossip.
Yeah.
Period.
And then Heather brings it to the place where she is upset. She I think she cries, if I was watching correctly, or borders on crying.
Yeah.
And says that she feels absolutely betrayed by Gina for this.
Yeah. And now on the other side, Tamra's like, Katie, you got set up 100%. And this is the minutia about the timeline of how long it took Gina to tell her to squash that information.
I really don't understand, because they found out
What's
at
the
Sutton's
difference? I don't
beautiful
get it.
Christmas party, or Kathy Hilton's beautiful Christmas party.
Sutton.
It was Sutton's. She's known since December. And then the minute that Katie said she was going to bring it up on camera, Gina waited weeks before saying, please don't do that.
But it was still before filming,
Right.
no matter what.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, this is really one where like an explainer video, well, even though no one would want to make it because no one cares about this.
Right. So Heather's like, all right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but I won't forget.
Yeah. And Gina is full mea culpa in this situation. She's like, what can I do? I'm so sorry. Please, for the love of God, forgive me. And then Heather gives her an olive branch. And then Heather says in her confessional, I never want to hear the word paparazzi again, nor will I ever call them again on me and Terry.
Oops. In Big Bear, they're wearing these like bear
Did you like
pajamas. Sure, that's fun.
I liked the Big Bear Babes costumes more than Gina's girls trip costumes.
For sure. Yeah.
Is that okay to say?
You can say that. They are joking around that Jen needs to go on OnlyFans to make money because she's broke. And Tamara's like, I know just the thing. Here's an apple pie. Let's put your nasty little toesies in it.
Yeah. And then they shove Jen's feet or one foot in apple pie. And then Jen goes above and beyond. She puts her toes in Tamara's mouth and Tamara goes nuts. She starts licking them.
It's so much grosser than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and Katie goes, I'm going to barf.
It was sick. And then, I mean, while that's going on, or around that happening, first, Tamara, because they're talking about John Jansen, she's like, Shannon told me he had a big wiener.
Yeah.
And Lexi is like, don't bring up the S word here, which it is kind of weird to be like, your boyfriend's ex told me about his dick.
Right. She goes, I want to say also, I don't know if we've touched upon it enough, but Lexi's energy is she's kind of being pretty wild and chaotic. Like,
yeah.
I feel like she doesn't know how to calibrate her energy on her first official Housewives trip in 10 years. And so she's kind of like going nuts. Like there's one point where she comes downstairs and she doesn't know that like the other cast members are in the room with her. Like she's a little off in terms of how she wants to be portrayed, I think, on this trip.
Totally. And then Jen is like, because of her comment about
this is
Shannon,
the end, right?
Yeah. She's like, why are you on a hell path against Shannon? Like, why don't you chill?
Like, yeah, where is this coming from?
And she's like, she has ruined his reputation. He doesn't have a bad bone in his body. And then in her confessional, she's crying about her mom having died and that he's the only one that's been there for her. And then she brings out the big guns at the very end of the episode saying that John has videos of Shannon from the night of the DUI that are horrific. And she's like, I've never been able to look at her the same way after seeing those. And basically saying that if Shannon tries anything with him, he's going to release these videos, which is like demonic.
Right. So it's a threat. So Shannon has threatened to potentially tell stories that would curdle your blood about John Jansen. She said she knows things about him being a monster.
Yeah.
And then now it's sort of the leverage is going back to Alexis, and she says she has these haunting, despicable videos that you can never imagine.
What does that mean?
So that's the true question, because she paints such a picture. What the hell could the Shannon that we know and love have done drunk off her ass?
It's going to be like the Crystal Kathy Hilton comment where she's like, I can't even repeat it. And then they were like, well, what was it? And she was like, I don't know.
Did we ever find out what that was?
It was Sutton, right?
Yeah. I can't, first of all,
she was like, I can't even utter the words.
Yeah. And then she left the audience, all of us, you and I, completely reeling as to what the hell Sutton said in that
for like
hot tub.
a year.
Yeah. So I'm of the opinion that most likely there is nothing that Shannon could do, in these videos that would make us rethink.
Like maybe she hit him. Like they were in like a violent confrontation and he started recording.
Okay, yeah, I guess
allegedly.
I guess there is something that possibly. I
Which
guess
I'm
that
like,
is the
okay.
Only...
Next.
Right. Okay.
Just kidding. That's bad.
Of course it is. So that is. I didn't even think of that. I thought. I guess I just didn't. I don't believe Alexis at this point, and I don't imagine that there are any videos that would make us that would shatter our image of Shannon. But I guess if I saw her beating the living shit out of John,
like a Solange in the elevator type video.
Yeah, I guess, and we don't have to say what our reaction will be to that. Well, this is all alleged. We're just speculating. We both speculated, but. I guess that is maybe, I don't know. I mean,
or she's like cussing him out, saying mean shit, or she's just like really fucked up and like falling over or something.
She said she had to pray for Shannon after she saw these videos and what she had to
I bet it's
reckon
like
with.
She's treating John badly, and to Alexis, that's like the worst thing you could imagine.
Because he is such an amazing person to her.
Yeah.
All right, well, we don't know what these videos are. Little Turtle Cuties or Villa Rosa VIPs. If you have any theories about what videos on John Jansen's phone will curdle your blood, let us know. I didn't even imagine a world where that it could, anything could be so horrific. But let us know. And then that's the end of the episode.
It's true. We've said it all.
We said it all. It left I think that was it was a good episode. I mean, maybe not like a 9 out of 10, but maybe like in the 7 out of 10 realm.
The OC episode or our episode?
Oh, I'm sorry. The OC episode. Our episode. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
There's dogs barking. There's the dryer going off.
What jingle did you say that was? Samsung?
Yeah.
Oh, so people.
They know it.
That is amazing. Is it long?
We should sign off with it.
Okay. Oh, will you record it and send it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, do you want to do our little This was our episode of Turtle Time. We're officially done. Amy and I have been together for about 6 hours or 4 hours to record a 2.5 hour podcast. Do you want to just say some of that stuff that we say at the end?
Yeah, I'll try and make it snappy. YouTube, watch there, comment, subscribe.
We like our YouTube. Can I add a little bit? I like the YouTube fan base. Amy and I don't ever comment back. I don't think
Sometimes.
Oh yeah, of course. Sometimes we do, but we don't. No one expects that on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's kind of just fun and freewheeling. You can comment whenever you want. But I think the YouTube community, for the most part, I would say 9 out of the 10 comments are positive.
Yeah.
And then there's always that one lingering one that will ruin my week.
Yeah. Rate and review on iTunes and Spotify. Tell your friends. Join us on Patreon, where we are reviewing or recapping Vanderpump Rules from the very beginning. We are on season 5. We have 75 episodes in the bank. I think almost soon.
Yeah. Around 75. We had a Villa Rosa VIP that I want to thank so much that they said they're already doing their second round through the Patreon, starting from the beginning, and it's still giving them just as much joy and pleasure as it did the first time.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah. So there's some hot, fun moments on the Patreon. Even though Amy and I don't really know anything that we've ever said for the year of content on there, people do find merit and joy there. And I hope you will too if you want even more Turtle Time.
A beautiful community.
A beautiful, wonderful community. All right. Well, this was a good episode, or I don't want to say that. This is a great episode of Turtle Time, and we hope you have a wonderful week. And we are going to have, because my wife is giving birth, we're going to have 2 episodes, I think, that are going to seem a little less topical than this one. But we hope you enjoy this sort of, out of context content that we're providing during my sabbatical.
Yeah, it'll be some best of.
Yeah, some best of content. All right, have a great night, everyone. We love you so much, and we'll see you back very soon.
Bye.